Hello, welcome to the first bonus episode of the Filmgazm podcast. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre,
No, I'm Caleb Jay.
and today we're discussing our personal top 10 favorite horror films of 2023. We recently did a draft of our favorite films of the year with Austin and Adam Johnson, which was really fun. And we teased this episode on that episode, and here we are. This was an interesting year for horror. 2023 brought out some old favorite franchises. Some crashed and burned. Some were more successful than ever before. We also got some cool original stuff, and also some weird shit that really didn't kind of impress people, but it impressed us a little bit. What are your thoughts overall for horror in 2023?
It, it. The only negative it really has is that it's coming off a banger year that was 2022. Um, so it didn't obviously feel as consistently strong as 2022's did, where it seemed like the output was just like, holy shit, how is this constantly happening? It's another year that Barbarian's not on home video. Fuck you, Disney. Um, But with that, it wasn't like, I think I'm with you. It was an interesting year. It wasn't a bad year. I don't think at least as long as I've been living, this really hasn't been a bad year for me. But it's been an interesting year. Like you said, we had, big hit returns with some franchises that were very well received. We have one that I think a lot of people kind of saw what was going to happen, and it did. It fucking went badly for one legacy film, and the director attached, because the last I heard, he may not be attached to the sequels anymore. Um, and yeah, we got a lot of cool indie stuff and everything from, your usual indie offerings, as you'll see on this list, stuff that really kind of blows that line and really stretches for, I'll fully admit when we get to the list on the one, I'm talking, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where I can fully admit, yes, I'm stretching a little bit there, but it's in a weird, like, kind of gray area, what I was pulling from. Um, And it was an interesting year. Then even like going with that weird gray area, right? We had kind of surprise hits that no one saw coming this year. You know what I mean? We had, on kind of like the more sci-fi-ish front with a little tingling of horror here and there. Godzilla minus one being one like the biggest fucking surprise hits of the year. You had Five Nights at Freddy's that no one really kind of saw happening the way it did, and good for those fans. I'm absolutely happy for the fans of the game franchise. I got what they got and were satisfied with it, and it showed up. You did what you should do. They wanted a fucking movie. They liked it. They saw it. They made money. They're getting their sequel like they want. So good for them. And hey, they gave Matthew Lillard a little resurgence because he's attached, I believe, to sequels contractually. So hell yeah, more horror fans discovering Matthew Lillard. Never denying that. Um, I would say it's a very interesting year that we got. I'm very excited for what 2024 has in store, as far as what we know at least. Yeah, it was an interesting year. Very interesting year.
Yeah, in terms of what we can expect from 2024, I mean, horror tends to be like more of a surprise over the course of the year. There's some staples we know we're getting, like, we're getting a new Omen movie, but other stuff just kind of shows up, which is the most interesting stuff. We get like a week's warning. It's like, oh shit, now we're getting this demon movie that looks cool. So I'm looking forward to just whatever we might get.
Yeah, and that's what I like. It's like, obviously we have things we know, right? Like we talked about a thing on the draft, like First Omen, thanks to its trailer and some of the techniques they did with that in the poster, immediately went from me going like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. We're doing an Omen prequel. Like, did we not learn our lessons from Exorcist Believer? Like, what the fuck? This actually looks pretty good. I might give this a shot. Um, Damien Leone is coming back with Terrifier 3. That's been confirmed. I cannot wait for that. And also, hey, give that man Friday the 13th like he said he would love to do. I want to see a directed by Damien Leone Friday the 13th. That'd be fucking awesome. Um,
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Bloody Disgusting has confirmed we're getting another VHS installment this year. This time it's going to space. They're adding a little sci-fi tinge to it. Yeah, even the VHS franchise has had to jump into space. Um,
Is it really a VHS? If it's, I mean, I don't think anyone ever brought a camcorder to space.
Look, we'll find out. It's not, look, we're at that point with this franchise where they're doing it, so I'll give it a shot.
I
We
mean, we
have
had
a
a camcorder in Hell in one of the recent ones, so is space that much of a jump now?
This is true, and actually, that was one of my more favorite segments. I really like that segment. Um, but that's like I said, that's the confirmed stuff. Then there's all the shit we don't know about, right? Then there's the festival stuff that's going to finally get distributed this year. The one that's on my radar is Last Night with the Devil or something like that, where it's a David Dasmalchian starring film
Ooh.
where he plays a talk show host who performs a real life exorcism on his show for ratings, and it being a horror film, things go south. It sounds awesome, and it's supposed to finally be coming out this year wide, and I can't wait for that.
That sounds pretty fucking awesome. Yeah, I want to, I enjoyed tackling the blockbusters last year on First Thoughts, and I want to keep doing that. But I also want to kind of try to spotlight more of this indie stuff that we randomly get. I don't think we did that enough. I want to do that more, especially shit like that. Like I definitely want to talk about that one.
Yeah, dude. Look, I know I obviously talk a lot about how like it is with the mainstream outside of horror films, but with that, yes, are there a lot of good mainstream horror films coming out? So absolutely. The same token, and this kind of goes into like when we talk about some of my favorites over others, that some people are like, you would have that over this. I'm admittedly a lot more forgiving with the indie scene. So like one I know that was kind of contentious to us, really with a lot of people, Skin and Rink and the Outwaters, right? I'm going to be forgiving on both of those films in general, inherently because both the people involved in making those films put their absolute heart and soul into it and tried to make something special. Now, how people received it is how people received it. It is what it is. But at least like know there are people involved that absolutely put the all into it, as opposed to something like Exorcist Believer or insert any other like kind of mid, no offense, mid Blumhouse film. Um, into it where it just feels like they weren't trying. They were just trying to do a quick buck and, do all this stuff and get a horror film out there. That shit doesn't fire me. It's like, you pumped all this money into it and you put all these stars into it and gave it all this marketing, but you forgot that you gotta give a shit for me to give a shit. Whereas Skinamarink the Outwaters, as divisive as they were, you were filmmakers that gave a shit, so I gave a shit going into it a bit more.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, by the way. Neither of those films made our list because we basically canceled each other out on them. I backed Skinamarink, you backed the Outwaters, and we basically just decided let's just drop both of them so we end up not so this doesn't turn into a 4 hour event trying to chart all these movies. So
Yeah.
we'll talk more about those when we get to honorable mentions. But basically, what we did with this list was Caleb made 10, I made 10. We combined them, we negotiated, we talked it through, and we made a master list. And that is the list we're bringing to you tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it was surprisingly civil. There was no harsh first shirt, no fuck yous.
I was anticipating like tears and insults and a 4.5 hour like just mess, but it took
I,
about 10 minutes and we were pretty civil with each other.
we should like hyped it up. Like if there was a visual that's just us like yelling at each other, like, no, I want this on the list. And then when we finally sit down to do it, it's like, okay, so I'm willing to take this one off, this one off. You want to put this one? Yeah, let's do that one.
Ah, yeah. We, we fuck with each other a lot when the chips are down. We know how each other works.
Yeah, yeah. What I will say was funny about the whole thing was like I went into this going, I'll probably just compromise that Outwaters will not be on the list because Connor really hated it, and then you threw me off. You're like, oh, we can play. I was like, oh god damn it.
Yeah, my attempt to be civil overrided his attempt to be civil, and we went right back around to pissing each other off.
Like, how is it we're both trying to be civil about this and still finding a way to make it more complicated?
So we just said, "Fuck it, they're gone." Ah, okay. What we have here are 10 horror films from this past year that we enjoyed, respected, spotlighted, and Some of these, purchased. Um, so we're gonna just take it 10-1, do an old fashioned countdown, and talk through these movies and why they made the list. Um, all right. Without further ado, number 10
Cool.
is a film that debuted on Hulu that wowed a lot of people. No One Will Save You. Good old fashioned home invasion thriller with some aliens. Uh, did not expect this is of the two non-dialogue films of the year. This was easily the superior one.
Yeah, no offense, Sean Rue.
It makes sense why no one's talking in this movie because it's one person. Makes no
Yeah.
sense why nobody's talking in Silent Night. I get why he's not talking. Why is nobody talking to him?
Yeah, right. It's amazing what you do when you just write it for it's only one character, and you do give a legitimate reason why no one's talking to that character. The few times there's more than one character in the scene.
Yeah. Uh, so in this movie, a woman dealing with the guilt over a recent loss is uh, fighting off a home invasion and learns pretty quickly that she's being invaded by aliens. And shit just gets crazier from there. I was very impressed with that. I like how it unfolds like your standard home invasion, and then she shines a light on fucking little gray alien, and all bets are off now.
Yeah, and I think was this one I recommend to you after I watched it type
Yeah,
of thing, I believe.
yeah. Typically with horror, like you'll go in blind and then determine is he gonna like this, and then recommend it to me if you think yes he might like this,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
always
a system I've fully embraced and just go with.
hey, I have like a 50 percentile at this point. Sometimes I hit it right on the mark. Sometimes I'm way off outwaters. And then sometimes I'm like in the middle somewhere where you're like, I can see why you like it, but it wasn't completely for me. And I'm like, God damn
What, just out of curiosity, what upsets you more? I hated it or I kind of liked it.
I think that I kind of like it because at least you hate it. Like, well, okay, he really did not like this. But when you say I kind of, I'm like, but there's a chance.
I'm not doing it to hurt your feelings. It's just these movies. Sometimes they get me, sometimes they don't.
I know. I get very emotional. I just keep hoping maybe this will be one he likes, and then he doesn't. But then you follow with like, oh, really? This one? Like, yes, I got him on this one.
I did the same thing with a friend last year and didn't hit like any of them, and I understood where you were coming from, and I'm like, oh, this is how he feels. When they didn't like Army of Darkness, I was like, what? How do you not? What? And yeah, didn't take Army of Darkness, Fright Night, like nothing took.
God damn it! Look, I really do generally try not to get super invested, but especially when it's like one that I'm like raving about. I'm like, all right, Connor, I think you might like it, and then you're like, dude, I didn't like that at all, and I'm like, what, what, why?
Well, when it's a recommendation from you guys, I am actively trying to hope. I really want to like it. I don't want to hurt you guys' feelings because you love this movie. Otherwise, you wouldn't want me to watch it. So when I'm watching it and I'm not enjoying it, I feel bad because I got to report back to you. Yeah, didn't like it. It's basically me saying you don't know me as well as you thought you did.
Which I've noticed the longer our friendship goes on, the more it hurts. Because I'm like, I've known you for so long. What do you mean?
Okay, back to No One Will Save You. Um, yeah, this was neat. It was creepy. Aliens have always gotten to me. I've always the two movies that scared the shit out of me the most as a kid were both alien films. So
Hmm.
there's something too real about alien thrillers that just get under my skin. So this got me pretty early on.
This is why I felt pretty confident recommending this one too. I was like, I know he likes aliens. This should be a safe bet.
Yeah, good bet. Great performances. Uh, really touching ending and just a neat idea. This is very original.
Yeah, it's from Brian Duffield, who he's been doing a lot of really cool stuff. He has a movie on Paramount Plus called Spontaneous I haven't seen yet. He wrote Underwater, the Christian Stewart movie.
Mhm.
He wrote that. And then this was, I think, probably one of his bigger hits with this, at least within the horror community. Um, But I was with you, man. Like I remember watching it because I'd heard some people talk about it. All of the like publications were giving it really rave reviews and saying like you gotta check this out. Like it's and what piqued my interest when I heard there was no dialogue in this film. I'm like, can you really pull this off? And like you said, unlike a certain other big time director, a much more well known director, Brian Duffield pulled it off wonderfully. Um, I mean, Caitlin Deaver, I believe is how you say it, Deaver. Um, she, without saying a single line of dialogue, completely sells this character. 100% just by her expressions, you understand everything about this character, what she's going through, how she feels. She doesn't utter a single line of dialogue. Um, and also, real quick side note, congratulations to her. She's our Abby in Last of Us season two coming up. Um, for all you online trolls that are going to come out in droves, because for those who don't know, because I don't think you've played the second one
I have not.
at all. Unfortunately, Abby became a very controversial figure for really dumb internet troll reasons. I am in the camp that loves Last of Us Part Two. Um, so, and I know people are going to bitch about because they bitched about when Ellie got cast. Um, but fuck you if that's you. I think she's going to be running full based off what she pulled off in this movie. Cannot wait to see her in that show. So, congratulations to her. You know, I'm very fucking happy to hear that she got that part. Um, but yeah, like you said, they do a good job of taking the home invasion trope and damn near subverting it, turning it on its head by saying, "What if we did aliens and no one talks?"
Yeah.
And it fucking works. Like you're tense. Like, dude, when you got to the point where that one's like chasing her into the car and all that, like I was like in beyond invested at that point. I'm like, get in the car, get out of there. Like you get so invested in this movie.
From the moment she makes it personal, when that moment happens, you're just like kind of on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop. And when they're like, "Oh, we're getting this bitch," it's it turns into a crazy series of events that I was just like very invested in and just on the edge of my seat for. So this was, I knew this was special when I saw it.
Yeah, it was a very pleasant surprise. Another case of, and we'll kind of see this with some of the films we'll talk about, both on this list and with our special mentions afterwards. A case where, like, again, like, yeah, I'm glad it came out. We still got on streaming, but I'm like, man, take a chance with these films on theaters, man.
Yeah.
This thing would have fucking played in theaters. We live in a post Quiet Place Forward where that was a huge hit. The second one was a huge hit. Like, this would have done so well, in my opinion. But I'm glad it did do as well as it did on Hulu and got people noticing because this was a really nice, unique, original horror film. Um, which again, like we talked about, people bitching we only get sequels and remakes. Yeah, we get a lot of those, but it's right in front of your face. Here's something original. Watch it.
Yeah. Some of the year's biggest hits were horror films. I don't get why there's still not a lot of faith in a horror movie playing. I mean, in this day and age, yeah, everything should, be available to stream eventually, but also give everything its chance in theaters. Whether it's a limited release or a major release, like give it a chance to make some money. What are you going to lose?
I don't know because apparently streamers have been a little bit more open that their model isn't exactly sustainable. That's become very clear,
That's frightening. Yeah, I don't need the fucking movie economy to pop. It's the last thing I need.
right?
Yeah. Uh, well, with that, let's move on to number nine, a sequel to a 2020 thriller that, regrettably, I have not seen yet. But this sequel is quite an entertaining film, The Wrath of Becky. Watched this last night, so it just made the cut.
Yep, just made the cut.
Yeah, we're only including stuff we both saw. Um, this was fun. I texted you last night that I don't see this as a horror movie, but go ahead and defend its
I
placement.
shall. I shall defend its placement. No, look, I'm not denying that this is like a much more action heavy film. I'm not even remotely going to argue that point. I'm not denying that point. It does go on the action route more. I like to say compare it to Alien and Aliens, and that yes, Aliens, right, goes much more action, much more sci-fi hard than it does horror. So I never argue when people say that, but it still has its toes in it. And I would argue that this does still have its toes in it. Not even because like the sequel is definitely more horror and that it's home invasion. It plays on that a lot more, or the first one at least. Um, but that a lot of what they're doing is being pulled right out of the exploitation of old, the exploitation films of the 60s and the 70s book, and the absolutely over the top gore violence that even in like a John Wick film you're not really going to see. You know, regular action films won't go that hard with the gore like this does. Um, these characters being as over the top as they can be, the plot just being insane, like everything's cranked up to a level that you would see in like an exploitation film where you're like, there's no way this world's real. And that's where I would argue it does get its little bit of its horror credits, that it's at least dipping its toes. Yes, it's fully embracing its action uh inspirations, but it's also pulling from exploitation of old inspirations, which is why I'm willing, and it's very stretching. I know I'm stretching it here, I get it, but that's my argument for I would have still put it on this list.
Fair enough. And yeah, I didn't think about the gore. Is yeah, you don't see a lot of gore like that in outside of horror. It's just, I guess icky to certain people. I don't know. Go
I
nuts. You're making a movie, go nuts, make your vision. But yeah, this is it's fun to just watch a sadistic teenager fuck up a bunch of racist idiots. Uh
Yeah, standing. It's yeah. So for those who don't know, like Becky, when the first one came out, it kind of took off because the big thing was Kevin James playing a neo-Nazi, and it was like fucking Kevin James. Like, okay, I have seen the first one. I got lucky back when Netflix was still doing DVD rentals, and it was actually the last thing I ever rented from them.
that's
Um, and that's how I saw it. And he does good. Like he's not bad. There's moments where I'm like, you're so like, it doesn't feel like you're fully comfortable doing this, but he is giving it his all. You can tell he's giving it his all, and he had a lot of good scenes. Sean William Scott absolutely, in my opinion, blows him out of the water because the big thing with this was they are noblemen, which is that even though the creators were very upfront about it, they're like, it's a fucking stand-in for Proud Boys. Like they weren't even hiding that in the interview process or the marketing press. They're like, yeah, it's a stand-in for Proud Boys. Like we're mocking them. Um, and Sean William Scott is our comedian getting brought in to play this part. And I have a massive Sean William Scott fan. Obviously love American Pie. I think he's a genuinely funny dude. It seems like an incredibly nice dude in what I've seen in interviews and what I've heard about him. Very nice, down to earth guy. Seeing him do this and just really stretch himself and get out of his comfort zone, and to me, absolutely nail it, was awesome. He had scenes when he's describing what happened during his time in war to scare that guy. I even was like, okay, yeah, I'm a little spooked. Like he is giving off just that right amount of menace of like, this is someone you don't want to fuck with. Like he will fuck you up if he has to, and he has no qualms about it. So bravo to Sean William Scott. Also, bravo to Lulu Wilson, who returns from the first film as Becky to give an even more unhinged performance than what she gave in the first one. And she's wonderful. Like she is fucking great in this. And yeah, dude, the fucking gore effects. I had heard about the scene with the grenade. I'll put it like that. I don't want to ruin it for those who haven't seen it. But holy shit, I still wasn't ready. And I had a reaction to that. I was like, holy shit, the moment I saw it happen.
I was yeah, I thought it was really funny at times. Just the way these assholes would defend themselves, thinking that was going to get them out of murder, was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? Yeah, it's just I have no sympathy for these pricks, and I love watching people just annihilate them on camera. There's
Yes.
certain groups of in society, it is 100% okay to murder indiscriminately on screen, and right at the top of that is Nazis, and then Nazi light like the Klan and the Proud Boys.
Yes.
So tear them up.
Yeah, dude. I'll put it like this. The first film I went, okay, this is good. This is good. Oh, they're making a sequel. Okay, I'll get to it. The end of this movie, I was like, bring on more. Give me more. Give me more Becky. Let me sure fuck more people up.
Yeah, I bet that they set it up quite nicely for a third movie, and I hope they let's do it now. Who's a comedic actor that you would love to see as the bad guy for Becky 3?
Jim Carrey's out of the running because he's pretty much retired. Um, Adam Sandler, maybe. I mean, I know he's done serious before, but he hasn't really played. The closest we got to like a bad guy was Uncut Gems. Even then, he was just like kind of a douchebag, really, in that movie. But like a scary Sandler, I'd be down to see if he could stretch it for that.
Sandler was definitely my choice too, because I know he can do it. Uh, I would like to throw in Mike Myers.
Ooh, give him like like maybe a renaissance if he plays ball in real life.
Yeah, if he
Try,
can put some goddamn ego aside for once, I'd love to see Mike Myers in that kind of a role.
right? That's a good one. I like that. Ooh, okay. What about someone like Patton Oswalt?
You know, I could see that. I
Hmm.
I know this is terrible, but I could see Patton Oswalt being kind of a Nazi. I'm a big fan too. I'm a huge fan of Patton Oswalt. I think he's great, but I could see him doing a role like that. Oh boy.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can see that.
What about giving Louis C.K. a bone?
I don't know if they want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, but I
No,
mean,
not ready.
maybe. Yeah. I will say I don't know if they want to even attempt that. That's like saying let's do Dane Cook. Like, do we really want to touch that right now?
Ugh, I don't. I never wanted to touch Dan Cook, but yes, I don't know. I'd like to see where this is going because the scale of the third Becky definitely has an opportunity to go international and be pretty cool. So
It does, and based off the reception, this one it got even a better reception than the first film. A lot of people were like, kind of me, like, "Oh wow, this is a way better sequel, than the first one." And again, not that the first one's bad. It just felt like they were trying to figure out what they want to do with this, right? They were trying to figure it kind of out. Um, but yeah, the way this one ends, which a great fucking ending joke, by the way. So that was fucking fantastic. Um, but the way this one ends, yeah, they could go even bigger. And I'd love if they'd be able to pull it off because I'm like I said, I am down for a Becky 3 or whatever they want to call it, Curse of Becky, the Rage of I don't know, whatever they fuck decide to call it.
Curse of Becky, dude, Curse of Becky, and she goes to Germany and actually fights like Nazi ghosts or something.
Oh my God.
And Patton Oswalt is Hitler.
Oh God damn it. Dude, actually, but also for those who also this is another another horror cred add to this movie. I forget about this, almost forgot. Another reason I would give it some horror cred. We have Outlander himself. I had to say it that way. Courtney Gaines in this film. That's right. He's now a grown man. Still kind of looks the same because he has the red hair still. And he is in this as one of the noblemen. Like and look, I'll say he's actually really good. He's pretty solid. He actually does a lot of the more funny parts of the film, where he describes like femboys and stuff. And I was just dying laughing. I love when they're like, "It's Becky." And he goes, "Oh yes, I'm Becky," and they're like, "The fuck are you talking about?" It was he has one of the best jokes we were talking about earlier. For record, one of the best fucking jokes in the film with the what's his name? Oh shit, Adolf. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
I like the guy who is like just there because he's like, hey man, I thought we were just gonna yell racist shit at a senator. I didn't know we were this was serious. That
Oh God.
that clown that needs to
Yeah.
happen the whole time.
Who gets destroyed by Sean William Scott.
Oh boy.
Jesus, that scene.
Um, I did want to point out, funnily enough, my last Netflix DVD rental was also a horror movie. Fear,
Oh,
1996.
I was about to say that shitty one no one talked about from last year.
No, Wahlberg and Witherspoon. Yeah,
Oh, that I've heard that one's good.
it's one of the best stalker movies ever made. He is legitimately terrifying in that movie.
He
Uh,
used to do good movies. He used to try.
he used to, and then he, found Jesus, and like everyone who finds Jesus, his career suffered.
Yep. They
You'd think
become
people would keep that shit to themselves.
yeah, you think that you notice a pattern that when you find Jesus, you kind of suck. No offense to my religious folks out there.
If they can show me one legitimately good Christian backed movie, I will back off. That's all I need. And no, Passion of the Christ doesn't count.
You mean you didn't like Left Behind with a bloated Nicolas Cage?
See what I mean? That's usually what we get. We get an actor who's like 20 years too late in a script that is written by some dude who's only ever read the Bible. Anyway,
All right.
just it needed to happen. Needed to be said. Number 8, our first Shudder release, not our last. When Evil Lurks. Uh, a weird, freaky film about a world where demonic possession is just something you got to deal with. Just it happens, and you better who you gonna call.
Not Ghostbusters.
No, you call a specialist who, in this case, doesn't show up, and all hell breaks loose.
Yep. This was one um that it was funny, man, when it was coming out on Shudder. It was like a couple weeks after Extras had come out at the beginning of the month. And literally everyone was like, "Hey, don't watch Extras, watch this for your exorcism movie. Like this is the film we should have gone." Which I was already interested in it. I had seen the trailer, I was like, "Ooh, this looks neat." And I was completely blind to Damien Runa's filmography at that point. Now, this is how much I got into this film. I have now seen Terrified. I've now sat through his Satanic Hispanics. I don't watch anything this man comes out with. I now worship the ground he walks on, thanks to this film. Um, and Terrified was really good. That was also really good. Um, but I gave this a chance. I double billed this with another film that we will mention later, so I don't want to ruin the surprise yet. Um, and hey, that was one of the few times a double feature really worked out for me. Like both were bangers. Um, and I was just I was like I said, I think that I just was blown away by this film. Honestly, absolutely blown away from like you said, the award building they did, where like it's a award where like you said, this is a regular thing. They have a whole system to deal with it to the point when as things are getting worse, they turn all the lights off in the town and they have a full fucking like if a hurricane, when a hurricane hits or something like they have a full thing list of things to do to try to stop the spread of this. It's like it the possessions is treated like a disease. It's treated like it can get pandemic levels if you don't take care of it, which I think is a really interesting route to take an exorcism film. Um, Another thing I liked was that it doesn't hold back because this is a foreign film, Argentinian, I believe,
Yeah.
if I'm correct. Um, so they don't hold back. We get some fucking shocking scenes that I wasn't ready for. First off, the fucking bloated corpse, the rotten as they called it,
Ugh.
was one of the grossest things to see. I mean, bravo to the makeup effects, but oh my god, that was gross. Um, ugh.
Yeah,
Um,
that was vile. Just rotting corpse, like a living, rotting fat guy. That's a lot for me. It's just like the second that came on screen, I'm like, where, how often are we going to see this thing? And it turned out quite a bit. That's kind of the star of the movie. Really, is this giant fat monster dude who just you know got possessed and didn't handle it. He didn't take his demon be gone pills or whatever, and now here he is. And I don't know why you're 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 cackling over there, but I'm happy to have.
this it's the idea of like you're having a nightmare of just this guy, not because you were scared. It's because this is truly what terrifies you: a possessed, bloated man.
I'm not gonna lie, it's the bloat that gets me above everything else. Like it's that yeah. You don't have the bloat, you don't have the scare.
I think that's why I'm laughing so much right now. Jesus Christ. Ooh,
Oh,
now we know what scares Connor. But yeah, I mean that's how they do this, right? And what I love is that this film gives you what it needs to as it progresses, right? It doesn't say I'm going to data dump you at some point in the film like an American film fucking would, admittedly. Well, Exorcist did do that. Um, it feeds you as it goes along, and you because of it, you fill it with the characters, right? Like when it gets to the point when they're like, "Oh, we're not getting the cops here, the cleaner didn't show up," so they call the people that take care of it cleaners.
yeah.
Um, they're like, okay, we gotta do it. And as it's ramping up, and you can tell the tenseness of these guys, like, we gotta get this thing out of here, or this town's infected with it. And you feel it, you're like, oh God. And it gets intense. It gets at one point, he's like, don't touch it, because if you touch it, it's susceptible to start messing with you and fuck with you and like potentially possess you.
No.
It's just like it's all this stuff that it builds and builds and builds and just feeds you at the right moments. And like I said, the scenes and that's how they open with that bloater, as we'll call it. The pro from The Last of Us.
The bloater.
The
We got a
bloater.
bloater here.
Yeah, damn it. And it gets to a point where there was one scene involving a dog that as soon as it happened, and look, they kind of show you it's going to happen, like the way the shots portrayed, and you see, shit, something's about to happen. When it did, I still literally went on my TV and went, "Oh shit!" Like as soon as it happened, I wasn't ready, and I thought, "Oh, that's all we're going to see of it." No, 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 no. I'll put it like this: I think a kid really hurt this director because he has a fucking mean streak with children in his films. Um, because it doesn't stop here. Like I watched Surfer and I was like, Jesus Christ, who hurt him as a kid? What is going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like there's a scene with a dog, another scene that is best described as if she's eating popcorn. Yeah, and look, I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to specifically say how it is because I don't want to ruin it. But dude, he doesn't hold back on like what this thing, when it possesses you, will fucking do to you, and it is brutal.
I do think that like certain, not everything, but a lot of stuff that involves demonic possession has kind of softened over the years of like, you know, TV shows on CW and Netflix make it seem like, something you could stop. This made it seem like that's it. Like when you're possessed, like the horrors have just begun. Like you're not going back to who you were. Like you're about to be tortured internally by pure evil. And that was a neat thing to see again. Like I hadn't seen that kind of, possession really since the first Exorcist.
Yeah, and I think to me that's what I liked about it. One and we'll get into and talk about misfires, but what my feelings on Exorcist Believer. But like you said, like because of how it is with the studio system, and over the years we've gone so soft that we've tamed down the possession flicks, which is why nothing has ever been as good as The Exorcist. Because for its time, it was shocking, it was vile, it was like, what the fuck are we watching? And they never try to do that again with American possession films. It's always like the same stuff that it's just like, okay, some chick twisting her head for the thousandth time in the movie isn't going to do much for me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, with this one, like you said, it felt like let's make it scary again. Let's make it show that, like, look, if you believe in this stuff and you believe in getting possessed by a demon, it's a fucking demon. It's not going to play kiddie games for you. It's going to fuck you and people you love up if it can.
Yeah.
And this film shows that and says, like, no, 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 this thing is bad and it's going to fuck you and people you love up.
I mean, these are beings that are born from malice and live for chaos. Like this is what would happen if demonic possession was a real occurrence that you could not avoid. This is the kind of like just rampant chaos they would cause just for kicks. So I appreciated that and the aesthetic and the originality. And also the balls that it comes out right alongside The Exorcist Believer and is better.
Yeah. It came out, did got essentially just a streaming release, essentially, but was better received and is talked about way more and in much better light than Exorcist Believe. Like, good for you, Damien. We're gonna like you did it. Like you beat the big kid on the block. Because the
Well,
other one now may not be directing horror films anymore.
yeah. To be fair, if this was a street fight, David Gordon Green like left his fucking weapon at home.
Yeah. He's the guy that like he's when the tough kid gets beat up and they walk away crying. That's David Gordon Green right now.
Yeah. So it's like, he expected, his Michael Myers cred to back him up, but Mike didn't show up. And now he's got no second. And now he's like, I don't know what to do. And he got his ass kicked by Shudder.
Yeah, sure went, hey, we got the possession film you guys want, and the horror community showed up. I mean, this made the rounds when it came out on all of my fucking different social media groups I'm on. Like it was being talked about ad nauseum the moment it dropped. I think Exorcist Believer got talked about that weekend, and everyone went, "We're good."
Yeah, that was a pattern this year, wasn't it? Um, well, speaking of franchise bests, we are going franchise for the next one. Number 7, Scream 6, which came out so long ago it almost doesn't feel like 2023.
Dude, every year, January and February films, sometimes March, never feel like they come out because we have so many other things that get released that I always forget about those months.
But this was the first real big hit of 2023. And, if things don't go well, the last Scream movie. So, at least it was good.
Yeah, right.
Uh, Scream has Scream 7 is, well, dead. And th they can only really, the studio can really only blame themselves on that one. So
Mm.
Scream 6 was the last hurrah, possibly, and I thought it was fantastic. We finally got to see Ghostface with a shotgun, and I don't know why that pissed so many people off.
Dude, it's Damien Leone talked about this when because Art the Clown in the first Terrifier shoots someone with a gun, and then I think he put a gun in the second one as well. Um, he talked about that once when like he got a lot of flack by the horror community going, "Oh, you got Art the Clown shoot a gun? What the fuck?" And he goes, "Why do you care?" He's like, "These are people that are going to kill. Like, who gives a fuck if they use a gun?" And he goes, "Yes, obviously we want to see them do something gory and shit, but in real life they're going to use whatever the fuck they got to take you out." He goes, "If they got a gun, they got a gun. Don't fucking matter."
Jason once used a sleeping bag, and Freddy once used a Nintendo Power Glove. So maybe we back off Ghostface.
Yeah, and yeah, I was like, let's back off. The Power Glove's stupid. The Seabag would have been awesome if the MPAs had stepped the fuck gone out of the way on that one.
Well, we got to see, Space Jason. He did it.
Space Chasing gotta do it. But I did the original cut of 7. He was supposed to do it like 3 times. Like you actually get a good like shit with it. But because the MPA was like, no, that's too graphic. We got the one hit.
At part 7, they were saying this is too graphic.
Dude, they were doing that throughout the whole series. The series is notorious for having issues with the MPA.
I mean, after the first movie, I'd say, all right, after the third movie, maybe just accept that this is what this is.
Yeah. It's a, yeah, and who knows? Maybe now when we get like whenever the newest one hopefully comes out at some point, now that it's out of court,
Yeah,
hopefully directed by Damien Leone. Um,
that'd be sweet.
who knows? Maybe we'll get a real brutal one finally. That would be nice.
Maybe get Kane Hodder back in the role.
Ooh, I'd be down. If he's still down, I'd be down.
Yeah, it's the 13th movie. It should be magical.
It should be, especially because he got cheated out of Freddy versus Jason.
Yes, yes, he did. But Scream 6. We're in New York. We're continuing from Five Cream. Ghostface is still pissed. There's a lot of nice, cool nods to the previous movies. You get to see the old masks and everything. It feels like a celebration of Scream, and it's a cool movie. It's got some great kills and some good reveals, and just it's fun. It's fun.
It's fun. Again, it really upped stuff I liked about the 2022 one, where Ghostface was very mean, very scary, very terror. Let's say they use a fucking brutal Ghostface. Really good set pieces. I really enjoyed a lot of the set pieces, which they said they took to heart from people saying there weren't a lot of chase sequences and stuff and things like that in their first initial outing. So they said, "We'll watch this." And it paid off because we got a lot of good sequences out of it. I mean, the whole scene where they're on the ladder trying to cross the building, it's fucking tense. It's a really good scene. With real good payoff, for a pretty gory death on that one.
Yeah.
So good job with the people they brought into this one, right? You have the always awesome, for many reasons I will keep calm about, Samara Weaving in the opening. Always love seeing her in something. It was awesome that they were able to pull it off for the opening sequence.
The opening sequence I thought was just like super unique and smart for this franchise. You don't see that. You've never seen that happen before, and that was
Mhm.
cool. I won't say what
Yeah,
happens because it's a really neat moment to go in blind on, but it's neat.
it's a really cool moment for longtime fans and kind of ballsy because you are risking like always pissing off that stupid sucks of the fan base, but fuck them. That's what this franchise is literally. The two recent films I've been making kind of fun of anyway. Um, which and fuck that side of the fan base anyway for how you've been acting on social media with the news of Scream 7 and taking out on the wrong fucking people. Um, but yeah, that opening was really cool. What they kind of pulled off with it. Um, I did like the fact that they were finally able to, well, they finally reached out to Hayden Panettiere and scheduling a whole lot of things finally worked out for her to come back. It was great to see her. She was good in it, in my opinion. It was not. I would love to see if somehow if we can get a fucking Scream 7 if she's able to keep coming back for these. Um, so I was really happy to see her. And look, I'll say right now with some stuff that I've seen like negativity online, I've seen with people about it. Um, does it kind of feel like Scream 2? Yeah, a lot of the structure and stuff. Yeah, okay. And moving on, Scream 2 is still one of my favorite sequel personally. I go back to it probably the most anyway. So fuck off. I'm cool with that. That for Scream 6. Um, yeah, Ghostface using a shotgun again. Fuck you. It's a great sequence, a really good sequence. Who gives a shit? And then the final one, the guy getting stabbed so many times. How many times do we get stabbed? So shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Just enjoy it. Just watch the movie. Like, if you're in, this is the sixth film in a long running franchise. If you have problems at this point, it's on you. Like, just stop.
Yeah, look, don't be wrong. Was it ridiculous when I was like, "Holy shit, he's alive"? I'm like, Dewey got stabbed a lot before we killed him off in Scream 5.
Yeah. It's all about where you get stabbed, you know? People get, people survive like multiple gunshot wounds if they don't get them in the right spot. It's entirely about where you get, if you don't hit the organs, you'll walk away from it. I mean, it's gonna fucking hurt, but you'll walk away from it.
Yeah, the road to recovery is going to suck balls for a while, but
Yeah.
hey, we'll be
If
fine.
like Dewey, you'll have, permanent nerve damage that is gone in, just a
Or else
couple
they
pushes.
gone in the next movie.
Yeah. Permanent does not mean what it used to mean.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, to their credit, at least when they did actually kill Dewey off, really good fucking scene. I'll give them credit. In Scream 5,
Yeah.
great way to send that character off.
I was so happy. I was like, fucking finally.
God, you're a monster. We have very different reactions to that scene.
Fucker cheated death 4 times. If they did it a fifth time, it would have cheapened the whole damn thing. I mean, it got cheap every single time. It got cheaper every time. He had to go. He had to
Yeah, but I still was sad because it's Dewey. He's the heart of that franchise.
go. Nah.
God, you suck. You are Spyglass, aren't you? You are a
Yeah.
man.
I have been secretly financing this whole thing this whole time.
You
I'm
son,
Ghostface with
you
money.
son of a bitch. But yeah, no, really, really solid sequel. And Melissa Barrera was even better in this. I know she got a lot of flack in the fifth film for what a lot of people thought was a wooden performance. Without taking into account that she's supposed to be playing like this character that is literally detached emotionally. Which is why her performance was the way it was. Because she was really good in this one. I thought she was phenomenal in this one. And again, I wasn't in that camp that bashed her I thought she was fine. Um, but she really brought it in this one. It was really, really so good for her to just again shut those fans down and be like, no, watch this.
Yeah. Which is a shame that we'll never get to finish off her story.
Yeah, look, the whole situation with Scream 7, I'm sad that, the movie studio is fucking this up so badly that two of our very charismatic, great leads are gone. In Jenna Ortega and Melissa Burr, and that, you know, why it wasn't because of them that Radio Silence left. They already had another film lined up. They were busy. We get the perfect at the time stand-in for them or replacement in Christopher Landon. That's a fucking awesome choice. I was like, oh shit. I was like, that's gonna be a good choice. He's going to do good. And then he, because of the shit that went down, he left. So it's like, so you lost like literally all the people I cared about like deeply being in this attached to this film.
Yeah. God, what a shit show. Well, Scream 6, if it is going to be the last one, it's a good film to end on.
Yeah, yeah, for the most part it's good. I mean, there's always gonna be that nagging. You can tell there was at least one more planned installment with the final shot. But if this is what we end on, this is what we end on. It was a hell of a fucking installment. So, and a franchise that even with Scream 3 being my personal least favorite, I don't think really has a bad installment, like an overall bad installment.
Nah, six, like from amazing to decent films.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. Number six. This was supposed to be the year of Dracula, but fans resoundingly said no twice, which was sad. But one of these films I thought was worth revisiting. The other one too, but that didn't make the list. When you give me Nicolas Cage as Count Dracula, I don't care about the rest of the movie. But in this case, the rest of the movie was pretty good. And that's Renfield. I don't know why this film bombed. It was creative, it was neat. It was Nick Cage as Dracula, it was Nicholas Hoult as Renfield trying to get some damn respect, which I thought was a great idea, like going to see support groups about abusive relationships. I mean, that's just brilliant. And I thought this was fun as hell, hilarious, gory as shit, and just a really neat movie. I don't get why no one else did.
Dude, the two leading theories I've read that why people say is that one, horror comedies have been notoriously hard sells for years at the cinema. Like for some reason, audiences just can't accept the fact that horror can, it. I know I joke with you about it, but I know you're not like that. But a lot of people do have that very rigid box mindset of like, no, it's horror. It has to be scary. It can't be anything else. Man, fuck you. You're just doing a disservice. So the same people that say like comedians should only do comedy, they can't do anything else, right? They can't accept that horror can be fun. Horror can be funny, right? That actually horror and comedy does go really well together because it's the same concept, except you build the punchline up, right? You build that up for the punchline on comedy, but you build the suspense up in horror. But it's the same type of thing, just for two different reasons. And a
Yeah,
good one like Renfield can pull it off simultaneously.
you can. I get that perfectly. And it blows my mind that there are people out there who want to stay in their box and never even consider looking in a different direction. That's wild. And
Yeah,
also, I do think there's still some unfortunate box office stigma surrounding Nicolas Cage.
and I'll say that's the second leading theory is that unfortunately, and they're saying that because of things like the over rate of massive talent that underperformed and stuff like that, like that unfortunately, and I can see that one being true. There is someone I work with, a friend of mine, that she absolutely stands by how he's a terrible actor, and I've had this fight with her forever. Where I'm like, you're completely wrong. Luckily I get some defense in with another buddy of mine at work because he's from California. And he actually met Nicolas Cage. And he has attested to him essentially basically being a really cool dude. Yeah, he actually talks about how he met Nicolas Cage. One time as a kid at like going to like Disney or something as a kid, Cage was there, not with his kid. Um, most
If it was
Cage things
anybody
that
else, I'd be like, that's weird. But with him, it's like, okay.
yeah, okay, that sounds like a normal day for him. And then apparently in another case where he went there years later, ran into him again, and told him was like, "Hey, you met me as a kid," like, and apparently he went out drinking with him. Cage was super cool about the whole thing, so apparently super cool guy.
That's fucking awesome. I love that story.
Yeah, there was a lot more to it, but I don't want to tell the whole thing here. It's a whole lot, but super cool dude apparently. Um, but unfortunately, people hone in not on the beginning of his career, like his, Con Air, Face Off, and all that good stuff he was doing. The Rock, all that. My trifecta of action films from that I always go back to. Um, no one thinks about that year. They all are his current period of like just great shit. Everyone focuses on the year that he just did a lot of shitty films. And look, people, again, we talk about this time. Stop putting these guys on pedestals so much. It's inevitable we're going to do it to a certain degree. He is a human being that, like anyone else, has vices. His vice was that he spent a lot of fucking money on shit he shouldn't have been spending on. He fucked up his finances. So he had to say yes for a period of time to damn near anything that came his way. So that's why we got a lot of stuff. But also, fuck you, because in all those things, they may have been shit films. He was never bad. He was never the issue. Cage always brings you 150%. He doesn't know what 100 is. He knows what 150 is.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, always. And what I also love about him is that he does not sit there and pull the I'm Nicolas Cage on all these young directors. He gives them the same fucking respect he would someone like, Scorsese or, Coppola or someone, right? Because I heard that story with him when he came to things like Pig and Mandy and stuff. Like, he didn't treat that as like lesser or like, let me throw around my status. No, he approached them serious and he treated those directors with respect and trusted these very, in the case of Pig, I think it was his first movie the guy was doing. He absolutely trusted him, and I respect that. You don't get a lot of A-list actors that will do that for someone that's just starting out.
Yeah. And he did a lot of odd films this year, certainly, but I think beginning the year with Renfield and ending the year with Dream Scenario matters. Like the quality of the film should not be dictated by the actor's past mistakes. I don't get why that's still a problem for some people.
Yeah, I don't get it because look, I was with you when I heard, oh, Nicolas Cage playing Dracula. Bring it. I was like, yeah, you're sold. Don't tell me anything else, movie. I'm sold. You got my money. And then, dude, when I saw the trailer, I was like, movie, you stop trying to fillet me. It's fine. I will see this film, but it does look really good. And
I
I was
thought
with you.
I thought of that line from Archer where like the Nazi doctor scientist was like, "Please, I can only be so erect." That's how I felt with Renfield. Like, stop, you sold me. Don't have, I'm buying the car. You don't have to tell me about the options anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to see this. It's fine. I'm buying a ticket now. But like you, when I went to go see this, I fucking loved it. It's a fun again. It's if you're willing to get outside the fucking box what you think horror should be, as we're kind of showing with this list, in a way, I'm glad we put Wrath of Becky on it. We're seeing all the different facets of horror. This is a fun side of it. This is where it's not asking you to be scared. It's saying, hey, have a good time and get things you're only going to kind of get in this type of film because no other genre is ever going to do something like this.
No, the films that mix genre are my favorite films. Comedies that make me cry, dramas that make me laugh, horror that makes me laugh and cry. Like when that shit happens, it's magical. You're seeing something creative. And I love that shit. And this movie was super creative. I mean, Dracula has been done 100 fucking times. But to put a new spin on it like this, to make Dracula the abuser in a relationship with Renfield, who is actively trying to get out of it, brilliant.
Yes, making a Dracula film first by focusing on Renfield, smart move. So Dracula's in it. It's a Renfield movie.
Yeah.
But then saying let's take the trappings of like a romantic like comedy type of thing and apply it to this was brilliant. That was the icing on the cake that made this work so well. And being able to actually find a way in this film to kind of be smart and tackle a subject like a toxic relationship. It's because it is tackling that very much in a really well done way. And pull it off so well was awesome. And also, shout out, we have a Terrifier actress in this movie. In the support group, the one that keeps trying to talk and gets interrupted. Imagine her with her long black hair in the first Terrifier.
I didn't notice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Which one of the better recurring jokes is they're constantly trying to say something. But yeah, really funny. And look, Nicholas Hoult and Nicolas Cage had great chemistry together. They were playing so well off each other. And Cage, without any doubt, for us true fans, absolutely brought it. He was scary. He was funny. I was laughing at some of his shit when he was like in the apartment, like confronting Renfield. Fucking great.
Yeah. To me, nothing topped his random towards the end where he just went, "Hail Satan!" like in his cage way. And I was just like, at the time, I was thinking, like, this is going to be big. And I am still blown away that it wasn't. Like, I think this is going to be a cult favorite. I hope it becomes a cult favorite. I own it. So I'm going to watch it all the time. I urge people to go check it out.
Yeah, look, I firmly place this in like the era of Cage that's been so fucking awesome since he's been really coming back strong and being able to at least, like I said, be a bit more choosy again. With like Mandy and Color Out of Space, like I put this right up there with those films, and that like this was another solid fucking film for him.
Not that he ever went anywhere.
Yeah, he never went anywhere. Cage Smooch is good.
That movie, the fact that that one bombed too, like, fuck, give the man a chance. He gave you so many great movies over the years. He had a bit of a rough patch, and you're just gonna kick him to the curb? No, damn it, no.
Yeah. Well, and I remember I read an interview somewhere where they asked him, "Would you ever come back to like a major franchise?" You know, they've been wanting to do a National Treasure City for God knows how long at this point. And he himself even said like he goes, they've turned their back on me. He goes, I like doing the indie scene. He goes, I'm getting embraced by these directors that want to work with me, and I'm getting a lot more work there, and it's a lot more fulfilling, and I can do better, things that he's like I can experiment more. He goes, even he kind of was like, yeah, they turned their back on me in mainstream Hollywood, basically. Like I'm not going back to that.
I will take Mandy, Dream Scenario, Renfield, Color Out of Space, and Pig over a lukewarm Disney produced National Treasure 3 any day of the week.
Yeah, and I don't think like I said, he's fully aware of like no, they don't want to work with me. They don't want to give me a chance. So, but these young guys in the indie scene do, and he goes, yeah, I'll work with them.
Yeah. You imagine being an up and comer director, you grew up with Face Off and Con Air, like your favorite movies, and you get to the budget to make a movie, and you reach out to Nicolas Cage and he is in. I
Yeah,
mean, holy shit.
and then you find out he's not half-assing it. He's coming up to you with like notes on his character that he did on his own fucking accord, and it's like, hey, so I read the script. I was thinking about this with the character. I'd be like, I don't even know what to do anymore. Like,
Yeah.
what's
I
going on?
Unbelievable. Yeah, I'll defend that man forever. He has brought me so much entertainment, even in his quote unquote bad movies. Like you said, he is amazing. He doesn't know how to half ass it. It's not in his vocabulary, in his nouveau shamanistic vocabulary. He doesn't know how to half ass, which is great. I wish I had a fifth of that work ethic. But I'm gonna keep watching his movie. I'm looking forward to whatever weird shit he's got coming next.
Yeah, if anything, the only thing that makes me mad is that Prime shelved the Tiger King movie. You fucks. I was going to get Nicolas Cage as so exotic, and you took that from me.
Ah, well, speaking of films I never thought we'd actually get, Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, you were pessimistic for like a whole year there when with every damn film that came out. I was always having to be like, dude, give it time. It's going to come out.
Well,
I was wrong on one film, Salem's Lot.
with this film, I just meant like in general, like after Army of Darkness, I never thought in a million years we'd ever get, you know, Evil Dead 4, which I get is this Evil Dead 4 or Evil Dead 5? I don't know.
It's all in the same continuity.
All right, Evil Dead 5 then. But yeah, and also an Evil Dead movie without, Ash is weird. I will say that. I thought the remake was pretty good, but this is different.
I'll say we had one without Ash. It's called
I,
Evil Dead
I
2013.
know, but this is different. This was
I would say them taking out of the woods was the biggest difference.
sure. Just something about this movie that I was a little trepidatious with going in, but all that went away pretty quickly. It's an amazingly gory, over the top, evil fucking movie,
Yeah,
and I was really impressed with this.
kind of say this felt like the year that apparently we're just fucking kids up in film. When Evil Lurks, Evil Dead Rise, like, are we just, is this, I mean, hey, I say, or Dark Harvest, something that I'll talk about later in honorable mentions. Hey, look, I'm not complaining. I say, give me some damn danger in film again. Actually make it where no one's safe. Fuck them kids up. It's fake. They're not actually dying. They'll be fine.
Kids they've had it too good in film for too long. Yeah, I say it's time to start, chopping heads off. I say go for
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I say go for it. And this was one of the pioneers of that this year was Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
These kids were not safe.
Just starting out the film with like they're already in a shitty situation. Dad left, mom's doing her best, sister shows up to help out. They find the Book of the Dead, and mommy gets possessed, and now they got to deal with it.
Yeah. And with what has quickly become one of the most iconic lines from this already a franchise full of iconic lines, but the one that everyone heard in the trailer, "Mommy's with the maggots now." That a hell of a line delivered flawlessly by I think it's Alyssa Sutherland who
Yeah.
plays the Deadite. She was fantastic as like this possessed person. Like holy shit.
Yeah, she totally was. I love that Bruce Campbell did do a little vocal cameo as, according to the director, an Ash trapped in the fucking 1920s because he can't catch a break.
He's never catching a break. I'm currently reading the Army of Darkness Forever comic. He doesn't catch a break there either.
I have you ever read Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness?
No, I have not.
I picked that up at a comic shop a long time ago, and it's like Ash falls into the fucking Marvel universe and brings the Deadites with him, and that's how Marvel Zombies like happens, and he has to team up with Doctor Doom to deal with this, and Doom betrays him, of course, and he's like, "Fucking really?" Like it's a cool story.
Nice. I wish they'd put it back in print. I could get my hands on Jason versus Freddy versus Ash. Don't say it. I know. I don't you dare.
I have one too.
Go fuck yourself. Um
That's the most I've ever spent on something nerdy for me, and I have no regrets.
hate you. I wish you just put the goddamn thing back in print so I can get it. But yeah, that was cool. No, I remember when I first heard I was sad that we're getting it straight to streaming. I was like, don't get me wrong, we've proven with like Prey, the recent Hellraiser, there's definitely a place now. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for me at least. I know some people really hate on the Netflix one. The franchise has seen worse places, guys. Come on, that's not the worst one.
I
Um,
love a Texas Chainsaw where Leatherface isn't the bad guy, and he's pretty justified.
yeah, it's like sorry, there's been way worse in this franchise. I'm
And
saying this
also,
is
it took like the whole damn franchise for us to finally get a goddamn Chainsaw Massacre in Texas.
yeah, yeah. I don't understand. And look, I'm saying this as someone who is an unironic fan of the fourth film with McConaughey. This is not the worst this franchise has been. So, um, but I was like, oh man, Evil Dead's going streaming. Fuck. And then like I had heard they had pulled it, and I was like, oh shit, is it even? I was like, oh shit, when's it going to come out? I'm looking forward to this. Something we're kind of currently facing with Final Destination 6. It's being made when it comes out. Already gets a tax write-off. We'll find out. Um, but then they dated it and they were claiming it was, because of really positive test reception. And I was like, ooh, okay. And then that trailer came out. And look, while I didn't watch it nearly as many times as I devoured the Evil Dead 2013 Red Band trailer, I got that thing permanently etched to my fucking brain. I remember showing you that trailer too, being like, dude, you gotta watch this fucking trailer. Um, uh, Watching the show, I was like, ooh, okay, we might have something special. And yeah, seeing that movie opening night, yeah, this was truly a really good Evil Dead film. I was worried about if they take it out of the woods, if it would still feel like an Evil Dead film, but they pulled it off. They found a really good reason to have it be like that, and it still worked to me.
I wasn't that worried about that because Ash versus Evil Dead showed us that that can be done and done well.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
So I was totally okay with that. I was just thinking like, out of the hands of Sam Raimi, is this going to be as good? And it was. I mean, it was, the ending was fucking some of the goriest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, yeah, dude, that whole like that weird monstrosity and putting in oh man, they went all out for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, the gore effects on this was good. The callbacks, the insane amount. I always thought Evil Dead 2013 had a lot of callbacks. They pulled off really well,
Mhm.
and Easter eggs. This one was like filled to the brim with fucking Easter eggs. I like, but good ones where it's not distracting from the film. You have to actually kind of pay attention for a lot of them,
Yeah.
but still really good. I fucking lost it when they all started going Dead by Dawn, Dead by Dawn. I was like, we haven't heard that line in so long. Yes.
Yeah. Evil Dead, continues, like we've said often, to be one of the few franchises that has no weak links.
Yeah. I liked everything. Oh, the fucking the sequence where you see the hallway massacre through the keyhole oh, that was brilliant. Fucking brilliant.
Ah, yeah, I want to see more with these characters, and I hope we get a badass Evil Dead 6.
Yeah. You know what I would like if they could pull it off somehow, if they can get Jane Levy back, possibly, and have her somehow team up with Lily Sloman's character in an Evil Dead 6, whatever they call it.
Well, they've established there are three Necronomicons, because the
Hmm.
old man did not warn Ash about that in the
No.
graveyard.
Well, and apparently they confirmed that because of this movie, I think Sam Raimi or whoever attached, they wrote an entire like Bible basically now of like lore to make sure it can basically be used for future films to make sure we can properly explain how all this shit still exists.
Ah,
So there
all,
was still that Sam Raimi touch, just much more behind the scenes.
all of this from Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell's like college summer movie they made in 1981. Unbelievable. The fact that this thing has the longevity it has, it just speaks to, Raimi's skill as a filmmaker and a producer and a writer and Campbell's just fucking charisma. And, here we are. Uh, Sweet. Yeah, Evil Dead Rise kicked ass. I bought
Real
that
quick,
too.
real quick side note with Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
I just saw this. I saw a really fandom was doing interviews back during a couple of Comic Cons a couple years ago,
Mhm.
and they had like the Blu-ray of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and she was like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm on the cover. She's like, you are? He's like, yeah, let me see it. And she hands to the he looks at it from one side and goes, yeah, I'm right there, and then hands it back to her.
I fucking love him. He's one of the few celebrities I've met, and he just he's a class act, super nice guy.
Oh yeah, super nice guy, witty as fuck. But with that, she does have an anger side. You know what sets him off?
Bootlegs.
Yeah, yeah. Don't tell that man you bootleg something. One, you really shouldn't give these people who work hard the fucking money they deserve. Um, but two, if you do it, maybe not go up to people like Bruce Campbell. I'm sure he's not the only one that really hates it, but he will tell you that's a big reason why Ash versus Evil Dead didn't get a fourth season. Um, because he talks about he'll sit there and go like, I've heard him on interviews. He'll be like, yeah, we were going to do a fourth season, but everyone wanted to bootleg it, so you didn't get it. He goes to all the fans that keep bitching at me that we're not getting it. It's your fucking fault. Like he is very blunt about it. He does not mince words.
Ouch. I watched all three seasons legally, and I loved it.
Yeah, I know it sucks. I can get it. It sounds like he would be have been down to keep that show going for a while, but the fans kind of
Well,
screwed that up.
considering we got robbed of, fucking Mad Max Evil Dead, fuck all those bootleggers so much.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to that.
Ah, well, I was looking forward to Eli Roth's return to horror, and we got it with Thanksgiving. Beautiful.
Yes.
I love that now they're gonna have to backtrack the whole "there will be no leftovers" thing because it's getting a sequel.
I think they should double down on that. There will be
Uh,
no sides.
was that like spin-offs?
I don't know. There will be no dessert.
Um, yeah, this was a film based off of a Grindhouse trailer that Eli Roth made in 2007 for Tarantino and Rodriguez's Grindhouse double feature. Uh, the third movie to come out of those trailers, I believe, after Machete and Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
And
fourth if you count the fact that Machete got a sequel.
that's true. Machete Kills, which my uncle was in prominently. And that is the greatest text I have ever gotten from you because you were watching it and you were like, "Is that your uncle in Machete Kills?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is."
Yeah, I was like, that guy looks familiar.
That's one of the best days of my life getting that text. That was so much fun. Oh, okay. So yeah, Thanksgiving. Brutal slasher. Uh has one of my favorite what the fuck is going on moments ever with the turkey.
Oh God.
I couldn't fucking believe that. Um and this is just a, good old fashioned fuck everyone slasher where everyone's a piece of shit, horrible person. And you just, you're kind of rooting for the bad guy.
Yeah, this look, you know me, I've talked about it before. I'm an unabashed Eli Roth fan. He was a very pivotal part of my love for horror when it came to like that 2000s era with Cabin Fever and the first two Hostels, and just watching those and being like, dude, what the fuck? Um, I've always been a defender when it comes to people and like his, attacking his writing. Is it writing that's aged well? No, it hasn't. Is it representative of how frat bro types talked back then? Yeah. So sorry, it is very true to how that type of person talks.
Dude, a frat bro douchebag with a backwards hat and a Ron Jeremy t-shirt in 2002 is going to use some gay slurs. That is not a surprise.
Yeah. Like again, like I say, like we've said before, a lot of stuff, context matters. Again, I'm not condoning that stuff. That's how that type of person talked back then. Is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And you know what? He did the same thing with Thanksgiving. Everyone in this talks appropriately to their age and demographic because that's just how that's good research as a writer. When your film takes
yeah.
place in 2002, they're going to talk like that. When it takes place in 2022, it's going to talk like that. 23, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, and he did the smart, and he talked about it. They asked him why, when it came to writing the dialogue and stuff, and he made the comment that like when he wrote it, he said he has a bunch of friends. Well, because apparently he's married. He kept that a secret. He's remarried now, has been for a bit. Yeah. But through that, I guess has a bunch of friends that have kids that are teenagers, and he would go to them to ask, "Hey, how would you say something like this?" So he got it from them. He was willing to step aside, any kind of ego or anything and say like, no, how do you talk? And even the actors on set, I read an interview where they highly praised them because at one point they would say they went up to him and the lead actress Nova Valak, I believe, went up and said like, hey, someone my age wouldn't say this, right? And she said he looked at her and went, are you telling me that a 50 something year old man can't write dialogue for someone in their early 20s? She's like, yeah, I fucking am. He goes, good, then say it how you would. Like,
that's good. That's
yeah, so he was willing to set that aside. He, very much being aware that, what kind of family hustle, that was Eli Roth in his 20s. That was different. This is years later. He's in his 50s. He's aware he's not going to be able to write in a way that's going to, resonate with kids today. If he wrote it, it'd sound like something from 2000 and then it probably wouldn't be going down so well. Um, but so that was a big kudos from him on that. But on that, like, yeah, me, like being a big fan, I fully supported kind of like after Hostel Part Two, him kind of saying, let me kind of experiment and stuff. Like he want to do what any filmmaker wants to do. Experiment. Stretch those wings of what you're able to do. And we still got some good stuff. But always in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I can't wait till he hopefully comes back. And again, when he wants to come back, I don't like when they're forced to come back or the studio says, we want you to do this because you don't get their heart in it.
Yeah.
When they want to do it, you get like what James wanted Malignant, truly something special because they wanted to come back. They had this instinct of like, no, I want to do this. Same with Thanksgiving. This was him saying, and he said in interviews where he would say, like, look, this is me putting my stamp on this holiday. No one else has. He goes, so before they do it, he's like, this was my way of saying, I'm putting my stamp on this holiday. I'm Eli fucking Roth. Step aside. Like, laying the gauntlet down. And, hey, look, that's the kind of ego I'm talking about in that case. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, you are Eli Roth. You brought it. This felt like such a return to form for him with the gory kills and just like the type of humor he's known for with the fucking masshole dialogue, as we like to call it. This was just a really fun movie. I'm so happy it did well and people responding that we're getting a sequel. And in another weird case of events, we'll talk about with another film later as well. I guess 20 years has been kind with critics and they liked it. It's weird how that's happening all of a sudden. They respond to it really well. And dude, I don't mean to keep railing. I'm just really happy to see Eli Roth come back and come back so good.
Yeah.
But dude, that opening scene with the Black Friday thing is like, I would argue is a masterclass in fucking suspense building and just keeping you like on the edge until he finally just gives it to you.
Yeah, I think I've always thought like, do we need to keep doing this with Black Friday? And I that's not, weird. Like people do die, just getting trampled by mobs looking to get, 40% off televisions. a day after this, giving thanks to everything they have, which is
Right.
so ironic and American. And I love, films like, Krampus did it and Thanksgiving where you just watch the mob rip each other apart. Like, yeah, that's going to create some monsters. And yeah, I was blown away by how fun this was and how grisly and dumb in all the right places. It was a long time passion project he's been trying to get off the ground for quite some time, and I'm glad he took his time with it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad he took his time. I'm glad he's taking time with the sequel. And it's not like, hey, we're doing it, it's coming out next year, we're gonna rush it. He's like, no, he himself, he's like, we're aiming for 2025. We're going to make sure this is special. We're going to go bigger for you guys. You know, you're like, don't worry, you're getting it.
It takes a long time to cook a turkey the right way. You can't just nuke it in the microwave.
No, yeah, it takes time. But yeah, I mean, look, if you're looking for like an old school sour slasher, you cannot go wrong with this one. This will probably be one of my go-to Thanksgiving films now because it's right up there for me. It's gonna be a double feature with that and Blood Rage. Um, but yeah, this thing, dude, the way people like in the dark humor, yeah, that dark humor Eli Roth was I put in there, like when the one guy gets his throat slashed, but still continues the Black Friday shop and he's dying, like that is darkly humorous. I was laughing more than I was like horrified.
Yeah. The turkey scene that I'm talking about is like it's
Mhm.
so unbelievably fucked up that you can't help but laugh at it. You're like, I can't believe I'm watching this right now.
Yeah,
Like
you're like,
that
what the
somebody would
fuck?
have this thought, like that would be cool to see in a movie, and then made it happen. Like, wow.
Yeah, you're just like, wow, they're really doing this. Um, God, yeah, that turkey scene was fucking wow. I was not ready for that to come up.
My favorite moment though was when John Carver, the bad guy, our slasher, uh feeds the cat and pets the cat and just walks out. Like you think he's gonna kill the cat, but nope, he makes sure the cat's fed and he pets it and walks out because the cat didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, no, I was scared. I was like, am I gonna watch this animal die? Are we really going there, Eli? And he's like, no, no, cat's fine.
I love when monsters do like weird kind things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's always fun when they do that. Look, I will say if you the even if you like go on this and let's say you're that person that figures out who it is because deductive reasoning of the cast really, I'll put it like that.
No.
Um, it doesn't take away. It's still fun. And when you do get revealed the person that is doing it, they fucking give it their all in that performance. I was really impressed. Like as soon as you find out that person who's playing that part absolutely goes for it in like the best possible way, and it's pretty fucking fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Uh let's go back to Shudder now for what I think personally was the scariest film of the year. Uh the fourth in a long running franchise, Hell House LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor. The best film in this franchise since the first one, and a just creepy found footage film that builds in suspense and just lets you fucking have it in the third act. And I was just the whole time I was like, this is fucking creepy. Um, I was very impressed with the storytelling aspect of this, like how it connected to the Abaddon from the first movie, and just how this all worked out. I was so psyched by this one, and it delivered. And yeah, well done.
Yeah, this was I remember when this was coming out, you were like, "Hey, what's something I should check out?" I kept saying like, "Oh, you should check out the Hell House movies." This new one coming out is supposed to be really good. And then I think I saw a review before you told me on Letterboxd. I was like, ah, yes, he likes it. Sweet, I won with this one. He liked the first one, and then I kind of expected the reaction. Yeah, with two and three, that's a lot of people's reaction, myself included. And I think that's just a victim of he was trying to. I don't think he really had a story idea for he wanted to go with two and three. He was just like, oh shit, this was a success, and they want more. I got to figure this out. Whereas it feels like with this new one, it works well because he has a plan. I think he's even been kind of open about that himself. Stephen Cognetti, who's writing and directs all these films. Again, look at that. One guy, indie scene, giving us a franchise with more heart and soul than some of these big budget franchises we get. Interesting.
Yeah, it really comes down to like, a roadside diner with a chef who's been doing it for 25 years versus like McDonald's. Like, where am I going to get the better meal?
Yeah. Granted, the one makes a lot of money for because of convenience, but you won't get the better meal with the other one. Um, but yeah, with this one, yeah, dude, this one was the scariest this franchise has been since the first one. So I remember even with two and three, I was like, okay, it has its moments, but like, I'm not really feeling. And then three gets real wacky at the end. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Start giving me
Um,
billionaire angels. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
yeah, it goes weird places in the third one. Um, but with this one, it was like they went back to the roots. They just said, hey, scale this shit back down. Um, and let's give people what they really want, just really good fucking scares. So many of these scenes, and this was the other film mentioned in my double feature. It was this and When Evil Lurks, so that's why I had a really good back to back that day. Um, dude, there were so many scenes that like legitimately just got under my fucking skin watching this thing. The biggest one being that fucking hallway and the thing that pops around the corner. Fuck that.
Uh, for me, it was the that there was that for sure. But then when they try to escape and they're just like a bunch of something in the woods, like
Oh,
you don't know what it is, but you just see shadows and you see lurkers, and you're just like, they're not safe. They're not getting out of here.
yeah. Oh, dude. Other one. Oh, dude, that scene when she's doing the job interview
Oh
and they're looking
shit.
through the pictures. Oh my God.
Yeah. This was
Oh, dude.
freaky.
Oh, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it right now. Actually, I'm trying to look around my own apartment. Oh shit. Dude, and then don't even call on all the different clown scenes involved. That thing, the clown's kind of like the recurring thread for us in this film, and actually, that's how they are figure out the way to tie this. I'm not going to spoil for those who haven't seen it yet, but they do find a way through the clown to tie this whole thing into the overall franchise, which was another thing I liked. Very smart world building and how it connected back to the franchise in a way that wasn't quite like two and three over the top.
No, it was, if anything, it was done in such a subtle way that it really rewarded longtime fans for, paying attention. And that's smart world building when it's not forced, when it's not like, oh, hey, this thing we never mentioned before is now super important. I hate that shit. But this was, hey, remember that little thing that we mentioned in the first movie that you might not remember? It's back. Like, I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was smart. But yeah, dude, there were so many creepy scenes with the clown. The one in particular, and dude, that this is mostly because of the acting by the male. I forget, I don't remember the male actor's name in this scene, but dude, the performance in that scene when he's having to sell the terror of what's in the fucking room with him. Oh my God, dude, that scene, I legit started getting like some straight up goosebumps and getting like, okay, this is getting real creepy with how he sells that and he grabs a camera and it's fucking there. Oh,
I loved how it unfolded when he's alone in the house for the first time and he's hearing things, but he's very much a skeptic. But when you're alone and you start seeing shit like that, he's still trying to convince himself like that's not a ghost. There's no way that's a ghost, but his voice is, you know, wavy and we can tell that he's terrified. Like that whole thing was done really well. And then at that point I'm like, why are you still in this house? Get the fuck out of here.
run away.
Yeah, those movies, all four are on Shutter. They're Shutter exclusives, and they're fantastic. I want a collection on Blu-ray, but there's a lot of things I want that I'm probably never gonna get.
Yeah, look, I'm still waiting for Texas Chainsaw Massacre on fucking Blu-ray, and it hasn't happened. But I keep hoping maybe one day someone like Vinegar Syndrome or RLJ or someone will come out with like a nice little like box set.
I want Shutter to go full weird horror with it and like release their own Blu-rays, but like sell them exclusively in like a freaky looking ice cream truck that they drive from town to town.
Like the fucking ice cream man or something.
Yeah, and have like, fucking Art be the driver and just drive around selling creepy ass movies.
They'd have my money.
Yeah, me too. I'd be like, you'd hear the ice cream truck and you'd be like, it's the movie guy. Oh my God, it's the movie guy. And you'd run outside with your wad of cash and be like, yeah, that'd be the best.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
Oh, yeah. Hell House surprised me. I'm glad you recommended that to me. This is I'm gonna I have friends I'm gonna show these movies to that I'm looking forward to freaking them out.
Oh yeah, especially I love the across the board thing when every friend they're like, look, the first one's really good. we'll get through 2 and 3 real quick, and but then we'll get back on track with 4. Like everyone across the board's like, yeah, 2 and 3 exists. Yep, yep. 4 though.
Oh yeah, that's just how it is sometimes. We can't all be Evil Dead. If every movie was that great, wouldn't be fun.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, not every franchise is gonna be quite like that.
Uh, let's talk potential franchise now. Number two, a film that was super freaky and original and creative and got a sequel greenlit immediately. Talk to me. Uh, whew, made by YouTubers who know what they are fucking doing.
Yeah. And I had my doubts. I'm like, YouTubers making a horror film? It was like when I heard Jordan Peele was doing his first horror film way back before Get Out came out. I'm like, really? Okay.
When I
So,
went to see this at Draft House, their pre-show was entirely the two guys, their vlog about selling this to festivals and getting like in talks with A24. Like it was about their process. So like I didn't know who these guys were. So the pre-show got me excited for like, oh, this is the journey this film has had. And these guys are clearly confident in what they've done. And like I was just even more excited to see the movie after that. I was like, this was smart.
yeah, they did an interview with Mick Garris before he ended in postmortem, and they talked about that where like I guess apparently like he got denied at a couple of studios that were like, we just don't see how this is going to sell. But then apparently A24 came to them and was begging them to fucking join and make the movie. And they were like, we've never seen that before. We're the ones getting asked
We
to
don't
get
see how
stuff.
this can sell. This movie, by the way, $92 million box office on $4.5 million budget.
Yeah, one of A24's biggest hits.
That's how you can sell.
Yeah. And the fact that A24 apparently like went to them saying, we want you to really make this one, please make this movie. You don't get that from movie studios very often, especially your first fucking movie.
Yeah. And this film delivered. Dude, this film's depiction of hell might be the scariest ever filmed.
Dude, I have I have a Fangoria that they covered this for their cover story, and if you do this, they do a subscriber cover and they do a retail cover, so you don't get the cool cover, you get a different cover you get buy it at like Barnes and Nobles. The subscriber cover was Talk to Me. It was a fucking scene from hell, which at first I'm like, the hell, what does this have to do with the movie? Then I saw the movie and I went, oh.
Yeah. Another film that really tackles possession in a smart way. If you open the door and you don't close it, shit's gonna get in. That's just, a basic of fucking seances and all that shit. Close the door, say goodbye, end it. And
Yes.
I just love that, again, a malicious spirit is not going to play ball. It's not going to do things the way you think they should be done. It's going to fuck with you and it's going to fuck with your loved ones and it's going to hurt you. And this was just done so perfectly. Oh,
Yeah, dude, this I got real lucky, and I gotta see this with a pretty packed and lively crowd, in a real good way. You know what I mean? Where they were reacting and responding to the film. So it was actually, along with being creepy, it was a fun experience, at least for me. I had actually a really fun experience with movies, which I was very happy for. I like when that happens with my horror films, um, that I go see. Uh, and yeah, dude, this thing really fucking delivered for me. From the opening, like one takes shot they did to start this thing off, which no, it's not the most impressive one take, but it's still cool that they were like, hey, our first movie, fuck it, let's throw our dicks on the table, show them what we got, and let's do this one take. And I'm like, bravo, good job. Um, and it does like it sets the tone for the film because you get the really cool this film's fucking impressive use of sound effects, which again, if the Oscars would recognize horror films, there's a nomination right there,
yeah.
right there. Best sound, fuckers. Um, and the scene with the knife, and you're like, holy shit, okay, what am I in for? What the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
And then like so what I love too is that they use possession, like you said. One, yes, they do what we talked about with when evil looks. They go places with, and they say like, yeah, these things don't play like they don't play ball. They do what they want. Um, Another thing I like about that is that it used it as a metaphor for just recreational drug uses amongst teens, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how they treat it. They treat it like you would as a teen going to a party, drinking alcohol, smoking some marijuana. That's how they treat it. They don't. They're just like, hey, look at this stupid game, ha ha ha. until shit gets real. And my fucking God, when shit gets real, that I want to give Bravo credits to two actors. I know when we talked about this on draft, we mentioned Sophie Wilde. Yes, she deserves it. We have that scene where she switches between the different personas that are possessing her flawlessly. And we get that creepy run, run, and oh, I just got goosebumps doing that. Um, but also I believe his name was Joe Bird that played the younger brother.
Mm,
Fucking fantastic performance. And for that one scene in particular, where halfway through, it's not too much of a spoiler. Halfway through, basically, a spirit fucks him up during the possession. It's the inciting incident really for the rest of the film.
yeah.
And oh, dude, the audience I had really responded to that scene, especially with the eyeball. Oh god, and the sound effects when he's like bashing. Oh god.
Yeah, that was brutal. It was vicious. My theater was silent. Like during that, there was like a stunned silence with that, and that was neat. I don't experience that often, but they were like just like nobody really knew what to say. It was really creepy. I was also very impressed by the ending of this film. I've never seen anything like that before. I won't spoil it, but it's weird and creative and freaky, and the implications are just astonishing. So this is worth it. This is going to be big. Um, I think these guys are going to have a very long and exciting career. I look forward to the sequel and whatever else they've got, in the pipe.
Yeah, no, by the end of this, yeah, I look for a sequel. I look forward to what these guys do. And now I can say I'm glad they opened the doors for other YouTubers that might be interested in pursuing this.
Yeah.
There are like other ones I know of that are making films. I know Markiplier, he does, game streaming. He's working on a video game adaptation.
Yeah, there was that guy who did Lights Out. He started on YouTube.
Yeah, like yep, lights out with his YouTube stuff and doing shorts. Chris Struckman, he's a YouTuber that does movie reviews. He's working on a found footage horror film, that could potentially come out this year.
Neat.
It's still TBD. Um, but it opened the floodgates to hopefully a very exciting new voices, which, as we've kind of seen, we only get in the horror genre. Again, something else I love about the horror genre, Hollywood is so resistant to new voices and any other. It's like they just don't want it. Horror says, no, no, no. Bring us these new voices. Give us this new stuff. Let's see what you got. And I love that. I look forward that because this was so huge for these guys that they opened the floodgates to potentially new voices in horror coming. So fucking bravo to them for that.
Yeah, every established director at one point was a new voice trying to break into the industry, and I wish they remembered that more often.
It would be nice.
It would be. Yeah.
Yeah, Scorsese ain't getting younger, Hollywood. I'm sorry, but he ain't. Like,
You know what's funny? He recently came. It's not funny, but it was just like I had a moment of like, really? He said his next movie is going to be a Jesus film, and I'm thinking, you did that already, Marty,
yeah. And did you hear the part that it's apparently right now clocking at like 80 minutes?
which is nice.
Yeah, but it's just funny after he had that whole rant about like people bitching about his runtime. He's like, okay, look, the next one's an hour 20, okay? Oh, interesting, Morty.
Yeah, you get, three Jesus movies is one Flower Moon. I don't know if that's yeah, but I just love that he's like, did he forget he made the Last Temptation of Christ? Like, did he just forget he made that?
Yes, he did.
Ah, boy. Yeah, we need new people.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, we do.
and that doesn't discredit his filmography. They're some of the greatest films ever made. I just would love to
Mhm.
see some new blood, some creativity, something else.
Yeah, new blood is what will keep it thriving. We're seeing that in horror, where yes, we still have our masters of horror, we still have our legendary greats like John Carpenter and stuff like that. But we have these new voices that are showing new and exciting things and making the genre very exciting for years to come.
Yeah. And ironically, our number one pick is the 10th film in a long running franchise.
That's one of your better segues.
Nothing's gonna top Saw X, Saw 10, Sawx, whatever you want to call it. Holy shit, this is one of my favorite films of the year and an absolute joy. Uh Tobin Bell delivering his best performance as John Kramer yet, finally giving him the spotlight, making him the main character of a franchise that's always been really about him, but mostly from the shadows. And the only film in the entire franchise that critics were totally on board with and gave quite a promising review to.
Yeah, Eli Roth and Saw. It took 20 years, but critics were like, we like them now.
Yeah, that's because the people who were going to see Saw and Cabin Fever in the early 2000s, they grew up and became film critics. That's that's what happened. That's why they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. That kicked ass." But now they have clout.
Yeah, now they can have their voice be known. Yeah, dude. I look, you know me, just like Eli Roth. I'm a big Saw fan, love the franchise. And I remember when they announced this, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, the last two attempts were okay at best with Jigsaw and Spiral. But, it's this new Saw film. I'll watch it nonetheless. Then I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks this looks good. Are they going back to how I used to? I was like, that looks like the old ones. Okay, this might be special.
Yeah.
And then I saw the fucking Rotten Tomatoes and all the reviews, and I was like, the fuck is critics are what the fuck is going on? And then I saw it and I was like, dude, what is this? I was like, I was not ready for how good this film was going to be. For the same reasons you said, you put fucking Jigsaw, the person we've all wanted in this film franchise since they killed him off in Saw 3. Spoiler alert. Um, but I mean, look, if you saw Saw X, you're probably a longtime fan anyway. So, but finally put him front and center, like the fans fucking want, and have him be the focus. And like you said, you get like a franchise best performance from Tobin Bell, and no discredit to Shawnee Smith. She is awesome in this also. Absolutely, like, and their chemistry is amazing. Like it's like holy shit, you guys feel like you've never left.
Yeah.
Like it's still there. And I love that, we like to make fun of Saw 6, I believe. For the backwards hat, or I think it was actually Saw 3D on my rewatch. It was actually in Saw 3D for the backwards hat way of de-aging Tobin Bell. Um, hey, look, I'll say it. The fact that they straight up said we're not going to do any de-aging, but their performances were that good in a film that was that good, you didn't give a shit.
No.
That's amazing. And in the year where we saw them try to de-age Harrison Ford, and it was
Uh,
very obvious they did it. Again, Hollywood, fuck you. Horror keeps doing it better than you. You're just scared to give them the credit. Um, because they didn't do shit for Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith. Minus give her kind of a bad wig. I didn't like that wig. Um, but their performance is so good, I didn't give a shit. Like I was completely on board. I'm like, yep, sure, yep, there. This is them young again.
the idea of pitting Jigsaw against a sadistic con artist way more evil than he is was very smart and made Jigsaw super sympathetic for like the first time. And
It,
you were on his side. You were like, yeah, punish these fucks. They're the worst people on earth for what they're
yeah,
doing.
obviously, as the years have gone on, people have had that debate of like, is Jigsaw really like he's kind of it's the bad guys, yeah, especially in the later sequels where he gets kind of gets ridiculous for some of the people he puts in traps.
Well,
The
that's
Hoffman
Hoffman.
there,
That's not John Kramer. That's Hoffman.
yeah, but so you know what I mean. Just the series in general, we were like, okay, really, someone did that. That's why they're in there. Okay, um,
Yeah.
this one, like you said, the smart decision to say let's make these people more evil, or actually have you follow Jigsaw. So then when it happens, it was like you said, I had the same thing. I was like, this is the first time I've been actually on board. As soon as we get to the big twist, like halfway through, again, a bold move. A 2 hour Saw film with the first hour is essentially a trauma before we get to the traps. Bold move that paid off. Um, Now when we get to that point, yeah, I was the same. I was like, yeah, kill those fuckers. They deserve it.
And then for the like for the our main, villain to just kind of like adapt to the situation in a weird way. Like she was unfazed by this. I was like, who are you? Like, how do you get into this shit and just be like, okay, dust off the hands and be like, all right, I got now to do some magic. Like, what the fuck? Yeah,
Yeah, and
this was awesome.
yes, and then like look, for those who are wondering, well, what about the traps? We got you. One could say as a series went on, the traps got a little bit too over the top and convoluted sometimes for their own good. This is a much like everything else, a back to basics approach with the traps and gory as fuck. Dear God, they did not hold back on gore with this one. And you get some of the best traps in the franchise, some of the best gore in the franchise with that. The scene when she has to cut off her fucking leg with that.
Yeah,
To the
practical
bone, to
too.
the bone.
We don't
Oh,
get like a, fucking fake ass head spiral thing like we did in Jigsaw. Like this was, real meat, so to speak.
yeah. No one actually died, but they did a good job making us think otherwise.
And dare I say, Charlie Clouser's best effort yet with the music.
Oh, in a long time. I felt like he was like tuned into this one.
Like Zep 10 might be his opus. Like it's fucking beautiful and haunting and action packed. It's everything.
Yeah, this was just a really good salt that like I was not ready for how fucking good this film and was going to be. Like I was already like, yeah, I'm a Saw fan. You got my ticket. Much like right, Renfro, you got my ticket. You don't need to sell me on it. I'm good. Um, but then just walked out completely like, holy shit, that might be one of the best films of the entire year in general. Holy fuck. Saul, what did you just do?
Yeah, took a little bit, recuperated, and showed the world what it's been doing for 20 years.
Yeah, right. And because of it, like we're literally getting back into Saw fever and like across the board. They've already dated one for this year, so we're back to a yearly release. I'm beyond pumped. I'm like, yeah, bring on Saw 11. Let's go. Woo!
So oxy. Can't wait. I'm not letting that shit go. That's one of the funniest things ever pointed out to me was
Someone pointed out if you flip the Blu-ray cover, Xmas.
That's fucking hilarious. I'm waiting for some extra income so I can go pick up Saw X and talk to me. Uh
Oh yeah, I need to pick it up myself.
no.
It's going to be in my collection. I really fucking adore this one.
Oh yeah. Well, that is our list. That's our top 10. We'll run through them again real quick for you. Number 10, No One Will Save You. Number 9, The Wrath of Becky. Number 8, When Evil Lurks. Number 7, Scream 6. Number 6, Renfield. Number 5, Evil Dead Rise. Number 4, Thanksgiving. Number 3, Hell House LLC Origins, The Carmichael Manor. Number 2, Talk to Me. And number 1, Saw X. Beautiful list. The best horror had to offer this year. We've also prepared some brief honorable mentions and a couple misfires of the year. So we'll run through some of these real quickly. First shout I want to do for honorable mention is Cocaine Bear. Uh, Hilarious horror creature feature featuring a bear high off his ass on speed, just wrecking a bunch of local rangers and some drug pushers. It's great.
Yeah, this was a really fun one. I think my only gripe was I wanted maybe less characters, more Cocaine Bear Rampage.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but with that, still had a really good time with this. It was a lot of fun. It was a very fun, especially the whole extended ambulance sequence was just insane.
I just loved everyone kind of realizing the situation. Like, especially like, Ray Liotta's drug guys were like, the bear fucking ate our Coke and just having a hard time kind of processing that. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that was
But I
good.
agree with you that it could have been way more.
Yeah, like I said, not bad. That's just my personal preference. When I want to shout out Dark another actually recent one I watched, Dark Harvest. Um, Apparently it got filmed like 3 or some years ago, and then the studio didn't know what to do with it, and they shelved it. And
Horror is not new. It's been around for 100 years. Why are we still doing that?
I don't know, but they finally released it, and then shocker, they didn't do it around October when the film takes place and on Halloween. Um, So it did like nothing, but it's been picking up a nice little steam in the horror community that have checked it out. And it's a solid movie. It's a very solid movie. The plot is that basically this town, it takes place in about I think like 1950s America. This small town every year has all the boys in the town, all the young teenage boys and younger hunt this thing called Sawtooth Jack. So they have a good season of crops. One of the things they do also is they lock these kids up in like their rooms for 3 days to have them fast. 3 consecutive days. They're not even to use a bathroom, they have to use the room that they're stuck in. So they become almost feral when they get out there, and you are watching when that night happens. These kids go absolute apeshit looking for this thing, trying to fuck it up. In some cases, they're so feral, and those teenage boys have petty fucking squabbles, so they're going after each other when they have the chance. Like one kid just out of nowhere fucking cleaves a kid's face in half, and you see it. You fucking see it. Um, it also had one of the most insane sequences where he watched these kids are hiding in a bunker that Sawtooth Jack finds them in because one kid fucking reveals it to them by mistake, of course. And dude, all you see the shot is Sawtooth Jack walking down into this bunker, and next thing you know, blood flying out of it. I mean, just like a fucking waterfall, just shooting out. Guys, or I should say, shooting out of this bunker. He's fucking these kids up. Um,
Damn.
yeah. Really cool creature design with Sawtooth Jack. Um, Jeremy Davies is in it as a one of the main character's dad. So it was nice seeing him. Really fun movie. More people should check it out. Dark Harvest, solid movie.
Right on. Yeah, I'll check that one out for sure. It probably would have made the list if I'd seen it, but didn't happen. Um,
Yeah, I didn't recommend it to you because of the rental thing, and right now it's only rental.
yeah, I'm like Mac in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I will not pay full price. That's kind of
You
how I'm.
say, you say that, but I feel like once a certain these good things you mentioned to me offline happen, and you have little, you know, disposable, you might be a bit more willing.
Oh no, even then, no, I'm not renting shit. All I got to do is wait, and eventually all this shit will be free somewhere.
Jesus Christ. Okay, never mind. It's okay to
Uh,
rent so often.
I want to shout out the other Dracula movie from this year, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which came and went so quickly. Uh, I thought it was a neat execution, similar to Alien. You know, a bunch of people trapped on a ship with a monster, not really sure what to do about it. And I loved finally getting a feral, evil, monstrous Dracula with like zero human qualities. Really liked that. The design was reminiscent of Count Orlok. Loved that. It was a fun movie. I admit there's some lulls, but I was pretty much in. I was in. Like I thought it was a really creative way to do this story, and wish it had gotten more attention.
I will say I wasn't the hugest fan of this one. I did like the Dracula and their take on it and him just being this fucking monster. I think what kind of had me was I got bored with the repetition of like Dracula takes someone out at night. They squabble about it. Hey, we gotta get someone on watch again. That's fine and dandy, but after like the third guy, like you might want to handle this situation. Like you can't keep doing this and be surprised by the outcome every single time. Um, and I think that's what kind of killed me for the movie. It kind of made it feel longer than it was. With that said, it still sucks. I still feel you on the people not seeing this in theaters. I'm like, what was it that Dracula was box office poison this year or last year? Like, what the fuck? Like, please don't do that to Leonel, guys. When the Wolfman comes out,
Oh, is it Wolfman this year?
yes, it's
So
dated for
20
October.
so 2025 is probably going to be like Year of Frankenstein.
Maybe. Well, actually, wait, because we are getting Nosferatu. Guy, please do not let the Wolfman Nosferatu flop. Just do something good for the audience and let these films make money this year, please.
Eggers could use it after the Northman tanked for him, which was bullshit because that movie was fantastic.
That guy has a flawless fucking track record, and I stand by that statement.
3 for 3.
Nosferatu. Yep, Nosferatu. I am so fucking excited for. Cannot wait.
Yeah. Um, anything else you want to shout out before we move on to misfires?
I do want to shout out two quick early ones. I'll leave Outwaters out of it. We'll leave the divisiveness of Outwaters and Skinamarink out of this whole conversation.
Okay.
Two, two I do want to mention earlier in the year, the sensation that was Megan. Again, a case of like where horror is more fun, right? Very fun movie. I remember having a really good time with this. I've heard the R-rated cut is really not worth watching. You get like maybe three F-bombs and a few scenes of violence. So, but what we got was a very fun movie. And hey, Chucky finally has a killer doll to enter the competition with. And based off the Twitter exchanges, give me Chucky versus Megan. Bring it on. I want it.
I enjoyed M. Threegan. I thought it was fun. Uh, I kind of expected it to be a Chucky knockoff, and I'm glad it wasn't. Uh, but I did it. I don't it. Why make it PG-13? Why do that? Like, especially since it was made to be R. Just let it be R. Just give us crazy shit. You already got a crazy concept. Why are you trying to neuter it? Just let us
Yeah,
have it.
I usually am with you on that because I know that the big thing was like because the trailer took off amongst like the teenage audience, so they were like, "Hey, let's go for that." Then, which does suck, but in this case, I'm forgiving because the film still turned out good. If the film turned out shitty, I'd be like, "You fuckers, god damn," you know. But this one still turned out to be fun. I was like, "Okay,
All
I'll
right.
forgive it this time because you still came out with a really fun film." Um, Another one that I actually forgot. I was looking through my stuff. I was like, "Oh shit, that was good." It's on Peacock. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's on the cock. Um, but the Kevin Williamson written Sick.
Oh, I remember you telling me about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, actually a really fun movie. It's set during the pandemic, so if you're one of those that doesn't exactly want a COVID film, don't watch it yet. Um, but it's set during COVID where these two friends go out to a cabin to a nice cabin, nice fancy cabin to quarantine. Yeah, no, it's not one in the woods. They have money cabin. Um, to quarantine and a killer enters the arena, if you will, and fucks them up. Has a lot of really cool chase sequences, are like really well filmed, amazingly filmed chase sequences. Lots of fun. I will say this, the twist might divide some, not because it's like, oh, that person, it ties into the whole COVID of it all. So the twist might divide some depending on how much you like them going down that route or not with it. But I was cool with it. It didn't bother me too much. I had a lot of fun with this film. And like I said, it is on the cock.
Yeah, I remember hearing about this one. I like Kevin Williamson. I might check this one out. Um, yeah, right on. Uh, I'll go ahead and shout out The Blackening. Uh,
That was a good one. I like that one. I had a
I
fun
like
time.
that one too. That one also kind of came and went. Uh,
Or they confirmed a sequel
okay.
recently.
Oh, good. Well, good. All right, good. I'm happy to hear that. Great idea. You know, a bunch of uh black friends and a bunch like reunite at a cabin and are stalked by a killer who is exploiting their blackness as like you know a way to weed them out, I guess. I don't know, but it was
It was a funny take on like by black creators on just historically the placement of black people in horror films. I
yeah.
love the tagline for it, like who dies first if the cast is all black or something like that. So it is making fun of these real world tropes and it's having such a good time with it
Yeah.
that it pays off. It's a lot of fun. I'm very curious on what they're going to do it too, if they're going to tackle maybe a different subgenre of horror, like what the plan is. But a really good time with this film. The jokes are funny. I died with the Kool-Aid joke that had the best payoff when he tried to get the guy. He's like, "Oh god damn it!" Like cramp. I'm like, "Yes, payoff."
Yeah, yeah, that's one I want to regroup on because I saw it like it's been a few months and I wanna watch it again, see if I notice anything new in it. Yeah, good. There were some good horror comedies this year, but nobody paid attention. Um, Misfires. What what didn't work out for you with
Exorcist
horror?
believer.
Gee, really? I had no idea. Uh,
Let's get that one out of the way.
yeah, go ahead. This was kind of the big failure of the year. Well,
Look,
in horror, there were a lot of big failures this year.
I'm about to say there were a lot, and it's funny because this one technically still made money, but because of how much Blumhouse spent on it, it was like a fucking again, kind of going back to the issue we've been seeing where it's ugly head this year across film in general, spending way too much fucking money on these films and thinking inherently by title alone it's going to get people in the door. No. Um, no, this was honestly probably the biggest one because you're taking this IP, this franchise that has only had one good sequel anyway, that was barely connected to the first one. Um, Extras 3 is the one I'm talking about. Don't think it's Extras 2, guys. That one sucks balls too. Um, uh, but it hasn't had a great track record. He's coming off the high of his Halloween films, without realizing that if you actually look at the critical and box office correlation of his Halloween trilogy, it goes down. It doesn't go up, it goes down. All right. But they're thinking literally we can apply what we just did to The Exorcist. Way two different fucking franchises you're tackling here, people. Um, but when I saw the trailer, I went immediately because I was like, you know what? Let me be open minded because the first Halloween was really good. So this might be another case where at least I get a first good one. And I saw the trailer and went, I don't think that's going to be the case. This looks pretty fucking bad. What the hell is this? And then even the promising stuff, like, with the, we'll see you here. All I can't remember. I literally been fucking dad upping this stupid fucking movie from my brain. Um, Lines are in the trailer. Trying to say the goddamn finished film. Um, but I was like, I'm still going to see it. I'll still give it a shot. And hey, look, I was like, I'm still going to give this the money and the due open mind respect it somewhat deserves. And I did. And yet I was still ungodly bored through this film. And what kills me is the first part of the film is actually pretty good. He's building up characters, he's building up the story. I'm like, okay, we're doing this. Cool. We're giving you story, characters, so we can pay off later with this stuff. Then we get to the part where we find the gores and they are possessed. And that is when this train wreck of a film goes so fucking downhill so goddamn quick. To me, that's when it just went downhill. There, the possession stuff, like we talked about, right? I had two other films this year that showed me what you can do with possession. This was pedestrian. I barely got any scenes of them being like possessed and doing anything crazy. It was tame. He rushed through it. He then we get to the exorcism part, and the first film obviously is very well known for that segment. And again, this just felt bland, tame, rushed through the exorcism. Just like, okay, and it's done. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? So by the end of this film, I was just like, what the fuck? And apparently, I'm not the only one. Apparently, it's gone to the point that he may not be directing the next two films, and it's gone pretty bad. And I guess Blumhouse has had enough. I don't know, but we'll see what happens with the next two.
I didn't think it was that bad. I Compared to some of the other Exorcist movies we've gotten, this was easily the third best in the franchise. Uh, I don't know if I'll watch it again, but I didn't hate it.
I know it so hurts me when you say you didn't hate it, and at least you won't watch it again. But I'm like, God damn it! I'll concede that is it probably the third best in the franchise? Yeah, but that's saying like, here's one in three. Here's everything else way down here. It's just on the top of that pile.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I'm interested to see if Blumhouse just cancels this whole thing or if they boot David Gordon Green and like give it to somebody else. I don't know, maybe Christopher Landon. And just, I don't think this is the last we've seen of The Exorcist.
No,
It's too big an IP to go away.
no, I think what will probably be the outcome is I see potential streaming only with the next two, and yes, possibly a new director.
Straight to the cock.
That's what I see. Just because they might go like, look, people did not respond to this in theaters. Let's get a new director, put it straight to streaming. We can recoup our losses that way.
The new direct to video. Uh I'm gonna shout just one misfire, The Boogeyman. I had a lot of hopes for this one. This is one of my favorite Stephen King stories. It's so simple. It's like 10 pages long, and it's one of the creepiest stories he's ever written. The movie does a good job doing justice to the short story and expanding on, the world because you can't just make a full-length movie out of 10 pages. But here's the thing. The build up to what this thing was not worth the payoff. It was underwhelming design. It was super cheap looking. The CGI was horrible. And I just was underwhelmed. Like, this is Stephen King's Boogeyman. This is the monster in the dark, the super evil that's terrorizing this family. It's this weird lizard looking thing. Really? So yeah, that pissed me off. So I was very underwhelmed by the Boogeyman. And I think everybody else was because I haven't heard anybody talk about it since like March.
Yeah, you know it's fine. They apparently this like supposedly tested so well, they were so confident in it. You know, from a streaming only release to theaters, and one of the few cases where it backfired for them.
I remember.
Um,
I remember hearing about that and thinking, "Oh, this is going to be great." The trailer was super creepy. It's like this is going
mhm.
to be awesome, and it wasn't.
Yeah, it was like, ooh, this did not work out the way y'all thought it would. Um, yeah, it this was okay. One person pointed out like if this thing only hunts at night, why don't you turn the lights on? You have so many characters that just don't turn lights on.
Good question.
And it's not like Lights Out where you see the thing actively finding ways to turn lights off to stay in the. This doesn't do that. Yeah, this was okay. It was an okay in this recent King Renaissance adaptation thing. Just another okay entry. I really
We
wish we just got more consistently good entries.
we have like no real deaths. Like the stakes never seem that high. The thing has so many opportunity to just waste this family, and it never takes any of them. Like, why am I supposed to be afraid of this thing? Like, it
Yeah, like
never tells me why I'm supposed to be terrified of this boogeyman.
yeah, like when the little girl's playing PlayStation, perfect opportunity. Just throws her into a TV and she lives. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, what a waste! What a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, and then to me, kind of buggles the ending of. I get it, they were going for a different thing with the ending of the movie, but I've always loved the ending to the book, also the short story. Um, yeah. Two more misfires, I'd say. And the other real big one again, if you notice why I tend to like notice most of my favorites are indies as opposed to the big studio ones. Um, fucking The Nun 2, Jesus Christ. Look, I'll say this much. The first one took me about 4 times to actually sit the whole way through without falling asleep because I absolutely despise that dreadful, awful, boring piece of shit film that's a fucking blight on society. That's how I feel. The Nun 2, it's a bit better. It's still not good. It's still boring. It's still just I'm still wondering why Valak is really disappointing to the fucking franchise. Um Storm Reed and Tyson Framer were fucking all the characters felt useless. Like none of them really felt fucking important to the goddamn story. None two can go fuck itself. I did not enjoy it. Um
I again wasn't that bad. I didn't hate it. I actually kind of liked this one. I thought it was a big improvement from the Nun. I like the characters more. I thought the whole like the freaking monster that comes out of the stained glass window, I thought that was done really well. That freaked me out. Uh the whole like
um,
everything can be the blood of Christ if you truly believe, I thought was kind of stupid.
yeah, that
Uh,
was
it's like in that case, every monster on earth should be super easy to dispatch if all you have to do is believe like I believe that this is the blood of Christ.
yeah, I was like, God damn it. I'll say this. I like that they for once were like, let's actually take advantage of the R rating and show a little bit of blood and stuff. Because the gimmick of it's so terrifying we had rated R, I'll say it. That was stupid since The Conjuring one. And I'm saying that as someone who likes the first two Conjuring films. This idea that it's so terrifying we have to rate it R is fucking stupid.
I my beef with all this is like, can you actually defeat these things? Because every time they come up with some Hail Mary, blood of Christ thing, it just shows up again. Like, how do you actually destroy these things? Can you even do it?
Dude, I don't know. And honestly, all I could think was like, oh my God, finally this film's over. That's all I could think was like, finally they defeated it for now until the Nun 3 fucking comes out. It's over.
Yeah. Let
Um,
me look at the box office real quick, see if we are getting a Nun 3.
I know it wasn't as successful as the Nun 1,
Still,
but
270 million on 38 million. That's, yeah, we're getting a 3.
we're getting a 3. But I mean, if you look at the Nun 1, that's a huge drop off in audience interest.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, no, I was saying with that rating, thank you at least Nun 2 for saying, hey, it's rated R. Let's put some fucking blood and violence in this. Like, respect on that. I'll give you credit on that. As far as that whole demon glass thing, my beef for that was like, this is not Annabelle Comes Home. Can we just not keep throwing other demons without any fucking explanation into the fucking movie?
I would just assume, demon nun power, evil magic. Boom. There you go.
No, Nun 2. It's like a fat dick in hell. All right.
So what you're saying is that you will have none of this.
I hate you. The only other misfire, and I want to shout out, and I honestly knew this was going to be, but fuck me for morbid curiosity. But I will say, you do not have my morbid curiosity 2024. You know, the fucking Steamboat Willie films that already got
Oh,
announced.
Jesus.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. How fucking dumb am I to think that a film that was made purely because when it's a public domain, they didn't give a shit about it, would have been any good? Because it fucking blows. And look, I have no issues coming down on these people because apparently this is how fucking in their feelings they got about this, the creators of this movie. Anyone who disagreed with this film on social media, they attacked and antagonized.
Huh.
Yeah, they antagonized them and attacked when I'm like, hey, shut the fuck up. You didn't make this because you wanted to. You made it because it's fucking public domain. And you're just trying to cash in on the gimmick alone. So don't act like you're like an artist hurt by people's fucking negative opinions about your shitty movie. Do better. Try harder. Maybe then you won't hear bad things.
This is a weird hill to die on. Yeah, I have no interest in seeing any of these, weird public domain, terrible horror movies that I know are gonna suck. I have no interest in watching any of these.
I watched this and the mean one and I went, okay, I'm done. No more. I'm done. And it's gotten to the point that they are obviously aware of people's reception to this because the guys who did the mean one are doing a Steamboat Willie film, of course. And in the press release, he basically straight up goes, look, I know what you guys are thinking that it's gonna be this, but we are actually making a really good movie. Like it's basically him going like clearly acknowledging what we all know these are being made for, but going, no, no, but mine's gonna be good. That's not a good way to sell your movie.
Oh, that's hilarious. I know I suck, but not this time, I promise.
Not this time. We're going to try. Sure, you are, buddy. Um, and I really try to not come down on filmmakers because it's very hard to get a film out and it should be celebrated. But I'm sorry, but if you're doing this solely because it's like, hey, it's gimmick, and don't get me wrong, obviously people like Roger Corman, Lloyd Kaufman, and Charles Band, Full Moon Drama and stuff, they have been known to just take something like a title or a movie poster and tell their people make a movie. It's how we got Slumber Party Massacre, right? Um, but usually you still got people involved in those films that want to make a good movie. You know what I mean? Like you still had some sort of care and love attached, even if it was, yeah, that's a cool title. Let's see what we can do with it. You don't get that with this. It's just like, hey, it's a gimmick. We don't give a shit how much. Just fucking put it together. People gonna watch it because of the title alone.
Yeah, I need more than that. I'm not gonna just watch a Winnie the Pooh horror movie because there's a Winnie the Pooh horror movie. I want more than that. I need substance. I need somebody to give a shit. I can't be the only one giving a shit.
Yeah. So, and look, it's not going away because they smartly robbed us of our money and had Fathom back the fucking Winnie the Pooh film and played it in theaters as a Fathom event, and it made its money because it was so goddamn cheap. Obviously, it easily made its money. And now we got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 coming out. We have a Bambi's Nightmare, where the fuck coming out. We have, I think, like a Peter Pan one, Peter Pan's Neverland. This guy has announced like two or three other films. They're all public domain horror thing. Yeah, I'm not watching it. Fuck you. Be a better filmmaker. How's that sound?
Do better. Be better. Well, I think that about wraps it up for our spotlight on horror in 2023. There's obviously going to be stuff we missed, very indie, hard to find stuff we didn't know about. And it's not like we're going to stop watching films from 2023. We'll always be watching shit. And
Yeah. And
hmm?
I was gonna say if there's anything we didn't put on our list, not saying this was the only good films. There's plenty of great films we didn't put on this list. There was plenty of stuff I was like talking between, I was debating on VHS 85, Totally Killer, all this other stuff I was thinking of. Um, so if there's one we didn't see, well, hey, cool, put it on your list. Like
Yeah,
there's a lot of good stuff. This is just what we felt like we liked the most, but there's a lot of good stuff out there.
yeah. Reach out, email us, hit us up on socials, tell us what we missed, recommend stuff. We're always down to watch recommendations. Maybe do a episode on something we really like. Always a possibility. Be sure to check out Reanimator this week on the regular show on Wednesday. Going to be a blast. Until then, keep watching movies.